Guess I have no need of living agents at all. Not even you, Baroness.
The night is not yet over, Commander. That is because you do not understand what you are fighting.
Baroness, what are you doing here?
I come in peace. You must learn the secret of the Phantom Brigade.
Mirabelle, why don't you... Baroness!
At your service.
Yo.
Well, that's very persuasive.
What is good, my friends? It's a Toy Kind of Mood, episode 198 on the road to 200. We're almost there. It's going to happen before Christmas. But look, I'm no Santa Claus, but we have a couple of guys from the North Pole bringing in the goods. As of now, though, I'm Trav Moody, joined once again from the Black Genghis. KJ, what is this, your 17th stream this week, bud?
Yeah, man, it's been a great toy week, man. Shout out to the homies from my Terror Drum, Tony's Figs, of course, a proud member of Toy Kind of Mood, and also Toy Connections, Ken Poe, repping it with Delta 17. This figure is the right shade for what we're about to talk about. Let's put it this way. But big props to them. Be sure to check out that episode. Thank you so much. And yeah, man, we needed to chop it up. It's been a while since the two of us have been kicking it over at Toy Kind of Mood, so I am thrilled.
Yeah, this feels kind of like a Terradrome for me, you know, because I haven't been doing too many of those. You guys took over, and you're killing it with that the specials that you do and everything. But this is the Robo Skull beneath the skin, a little Megadeth reference there with Skeletron. So we are going to talk about Morgan Lofting. We lost a great one in the community, but let's bring our friends on. Let's talk about G.I. Joe. This is why we're here, right? Because of G.I. Joe. Anyway, we'll talk about G.I. Joe with Skeletron. And then, of course, yeah, I got to meet Ben at Yo Joe Fest June. But look, we'll talk with them about G.I. Joe and, of course, the Robo Skull and more from Skeletron. So in the meantime, let's bring them out.
Hey.
What up?
Yo Joe, guys.
What is up?
What's going
Congrats,
on? Thank you.
guys.
So, yeah. Congratulations. Thanks for joining both of us tonight, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We will get to the comments in a little while, but how we doing? How we feeling? We'll talk about some G.I. Joe stuff, but how we just feeling today? How we feeling?
I'm feeling great overall. Although to be honest, Mark and I are both fighting a little bit of a bug the last few days, so we're just powering through it because we got a lot to do.
Okay.
Yeah, that was fun to have over Thanksgiving. See, I'm on the tail end, and Ben's getting it now, so sorry.
What are you going to do?
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Got you right there. But look, we are feeling a little down as well because we lost someone big in the community. And it's Morgan Lofting, none other than the voice of the Baroness. Look, we met at Joe Fest, at least Ben and I did. But did you guys get to meet Morgan?
Sadly, I never spent any time with Morgan. No.
You know, the only bit that I did was she came to Rochester's Nerdin' Out Con, and the only time that I had seen her, because we were kind of stuck in the booth, was there was a point where she came walking around, and she was just really friendly. You know, she was talking to people, meeting, you know, just swung by the booth, and it was just really neat to meet her. But yeah, like Ben said, other than that, I didn't have a lot of other interactions with her other than that.
KJ, your thoughts on Baroness, Firestar, Moonracer? You know, you're a big fan across the board.
Yeah.
Transformers, Marvel, you know, Black Cat, Aunt May. That, you know, she died 84 years young. What'd you think?
A full life. These fantastic voice actors, they brought our imaginations to life. You know, I can think back to sitting down, eating that bowl of cereal, watching G.I. Joe, watching Transformers, and all these great shows. And you see these actors, you know, they're just people that had a gift and shared it with the youth. You know, so I really just want to say, you know, thank you to Morgan and for all that she gave to us fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, appreciate the community came up big. Our friend Ed Schumacher made this post with Full Force, and everyone else in the GI Joe community came up big. Speaking of the Full Force, he did an unboxing. Shout out to Chris Diagnostic 80. I want to ask you guys, you had a relationship with him for a long time. I know he was kind of a part of, and hopefully we'll have him on a stream towards the end of the year like we normally do, talking our favorite Joes of the year and all that stuff. But yeah, Mark, I'll go with you real quick. How do you know our friend Chris? Like, how long have you known him, and what impacted him and Kate, his wife, have? I know they had mentioned they were a part of it. Do you want to talk about that real quick?
Well, I'll start just with how I met Chris. So the first time I'd met Chris, funny enough, was at an assembly required event in Iowa. It was the first time I had gone to one of those, and it just so happened that year, Mr. McLeod was doing a panel on the Palatoy Robo Skull. And for me, I'd never heard of that thing, and so it was kind of my first introduction to it. Ben and Chris, they already knew each other at the time, and Ben can talk a little bit more about how Chris, his involvement in the project. But like I said, I met Chris at that time and became really great friends with him and Kate, and yeah, they've been a lot of fun to be around. We see them. We just saw them actually in Iowa this past October or November. So
assembly required, yeah,
exactly. So. Just a great dude. Love hanging out with Chris. Love you, Chris.
Yeah, I wanted to give Chris a shout out because honestly, like, I don't think without him and what's on Joe mind, I don't know if I would really know of the Robo Skull. I know our friends Ryan Sweeney, Dreadnought Ryan, was a part of a Toy Kind of Mood. Our other friend Fixer, we had them. Of course, we did that interview. That's how we all first talked.
Yeah.
So through them, I got to know you guys personally. But like just the awareness. And so I always want to, Toy Kind of Mood's taken off. We're in a good place. I definitely want to give shout outs to what's on Joe Mind and Full Force for being there from the beginning and kind of opening our eyes. And I see that, like, I had a chance to review this early and kind of give some other people in the community the awareness that this is, because it isn't a Hasbro item, but it's still very much an Action Force GI Joe item, if you will. So I think it's important to like see who set the precedent. And also we're going to talk GI Joe classified leaks, and he always pours those out. And Ben, I should reiterate, I did meet Mark. He just didn't hang out till 3 a.m. with Chris and I. We did meet at the booth. It was quick, and I wish I was at assembly required so we can spend more time together, Mark. But Ben and I got to know each other really well because we're in that lobby.
I was going to say that, Travis. I was like, I barely saw you there, but yeah, part of that is of my own doing because I'm one of these guys that I've earned the reputation of the guy who goes to bed early, and I've mastered the Irish goodbye. So at least I think I have. Probably outed myself, but yeah. I slip out pretty quietly.
Someone has to do all the dirty work for Skeletron. So,
man, if I don't get a good night's sleep, I'm a wreck the next day. So.
But Ben, how do you power through it, man? How do you stay up at these?
It's getting harder and harder. I used to be able to do it no problem back in the day. Like back when I first met McLeod was 10 years ago at JoeCon. So I got introduced to him real briefly at 2014 in Dallas, my first JoeCon. Gary Goggles actually did a quick introduction, but I really didn't connect with Chris till a bit later. He and David Tree were doing panels about Action Force in the UK, about Palatoy and all that kind of thing. So which I had attended because I had seen a Palatoy Robo Skull before I went to JoeCon, and it made, and I freaked out when I saw it because I was like, what is this thing? Picked up my first Robo Skull from Aaron Diedrich from Robo Collectibles there at that show. So that was a big show for me. I met a lot of cool people. It was 10 years ago. And then Chris and I just became really good friends over time. I really liked his Full Force. I used to tell McLeod I would fall asleep listening to his voice because I would download it and listen to him on plane rides sometimes when he was doing the podcast. So we became good friends, and he got engaged with me on the Robo Skull Mark II concept. He was the first person I called, and with the idea, and I was like, hey, I got this crazy idea. What do you think? And then of course his wife Kate, we connected at JoeCons because she also has like this deep love of the Robo Skull, and she had done. She even did a 1/12 scale model with a one.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Whoa.
like you guys, if you haven't seen that, you gotta check it out. It's
Mhm.
and it's really it's really impressive. So she did that. She did that one of those years. I think I don't remember what year it was. And then she had a 1/12 scale Red Wolf. And then I came back next year with a chromed out Palatoy Robo Skull. So that was as far as, that was as cool as I could get with it. But definitely, connected with them over the Robo Skull.
Yeah, we got a comment here from Patrick Gerard. Ben probably had 5 chromed Robo Skulls by then.
I did actually chrome 2. So I have a silver chrome one, and then I had one gold chromed, and that ended up going out as a gift to my good buddy. Shout out to Simon Flack down in Australia, who I also met at that JoeCon 10 years ago.
Nice. Great. Do want to? I think it'd be fun to talk about the G.I. Joe classified leaks with you, kind of just like a hangout session before we dive into the Robo Skull. But before that, man, this man has been a full force this week, and that's KJ Black Genghis. You want to say what's up to the chat first before we dive into some classified? You're muted, though. Muted. You were muted. You're muted.
Oh man, I now I'm gonna have to start over because I listened.
You were rolling too.
You were in the flow.
But shout out to everybody in the chat. Thanks for rocking with us. Thanks for joining us. I also have to give kudos to you guys. Can I show this? Is it time? Can we talk about just
gonna
how
count it out.
Oh,
this
wow.
is, man? Now, I'm being sincere. There are few things in this life that are worth the wait. There are exceedingly few things that not only meet expectations but exceed them. And you should feel damn proud of this. This is Toy of the Year. This is what it felt like opening up that his tank from Hasbro. What it felt like getting, that dream object that you didn't think would happen. And you guys must be stoked that you're the ones who made this happen for years. The journey of this, it's been 2 years plus since we first talked about this, and to have it in hand is just bravo. Chat. I need clap emojis.
Thank you.
Chat.
Thank you, KJ. That means a lot. Man.
Thanks, man. Seriously.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better. Hey, at least Ben, you can't be mad at everybody at a Toy Kind of Mood. Our discussion we had the other day.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that for sure. But let's say what's up to some folks. Of course, we saw Tony's Figs, our right-hand man. We got Baldy.
Oh, Baldy.
Yeah. He met you at on the flight to Joe Fest.
Yeah, we shared.
Oh yeah, that was a great flight. We were meeting all kinds of people. You kind of know when your people. You kind of see your people, right? When you're at the Atlanta airport and going to Augusta, you can kind of spot your crowd. So that's fun. We had a good time.
That's what's up. Cool. Met Ben at ARSCS Dog. Aloha. 1000% Toy of the Year, says Keith O'Donnell.
Thanks, Keith.
The Bane clap emojis. All right, cool. All right, let's talk about other figures that are coming in the future. This one was fun. And yeah, shout out to Chris, shout out to Shalu, Weibo, Darren Marshall, all these guys posting these up. But Crystal Ball, Mark, I don't know if you saw these leak images of Crystal Ball. If you do follow the G.I. Joe classified news and leaks.
I do. Yeah, I was excited for this one. This was okay. So everyone kind of has their weird figure, right? When they were younger, right? This was a favorite for mine, the Crystal Ball. I like what they're doing here. I'm a fan of, I like seeing things get modernized. I love the texture. You look at this cloak, the texture that's on this thing. I love I love the direction they're taking this figure. I think it's so much fun.
Ben, you want to follow up with Crystal Ball? Because it seems like Lenny's having fun taking the worst characters of G.I. Joe, or arguably the worst, and just making them classified and cool.
Yeah, definitely. So I'd say I agree with half of what Mark said. So Crystal Ball was not one of my favorites. I was not, and I know like there's the whole like, kind of spooky, backstory and everything about this, and there's an interesting, the interesting story about the creation of the character, but not a big fan, just, as a kid. But I totally agree with Mark that this looks awesome. So I love, he's kept really cool elements and turning that not so cool kind of look into a cool look by making it like.
What are you talking about? He's got the Hypno Shield band. Come on.
I mean, come on.
I can't wait to see Lenny's Hypno Shield, honestly. So yeah, I think this looks really cool. I mean, I'm way into it. I'm definitely into it.
Like, I can already imagine reviewing this figure and having Notorious B.I.G. Hypnotize play in the background.
You're already getting the soundtrack.
That'd be perfect.
I just love your flashy ways. That's just why you're ball and you're so crystal. Never mind. That didn't.
We need Word Burglar here for that one.
Yeah, exactly. Good
I think they're on it. I don't know, man. That was sounding pretty good to me, KJ.
Oh, that's no knock on KJ.
And, speaking of rappers, I'll give a shout out to Apathy. He's got an album coming out, and he loves G.I. Joe. We've had him on a few times. I want to hear some more G.I. Joe raps. But speaking of raps, you got them around the face, man. We got Slice and Dice here. Ben, I'll go to you on this. But what are you thinking? Do you have a little bit of red shadows like color there?
No, I love everything in red and black.
Yep.
And I don't know if you know this about me, but I love ninjas. So I'm a big ninja guy. I love, like, Storm Shadow's my favorite. These guys came out a little bit later when I was a kid, but I think that these are really kick-ass interpretations of these figures. So I'm really into it. I love the face masks. I just think they look like a lot of fun. So I'm down for these big time.
Mark?
So something that I always I really pay attention to, the sculpts, the sculpt details, right? And these things look fantastic. I really like what they're doing with the shoulder joint there and the butterfly. I like how, they're getting that coverage over the arm, utilizing the butterfly. So, and again, those straps across the chest, they look great. The detail, the textures are fantastic.
And look at that sculpt on those masks. I mean,
I know those masks are great.
Kick-ass.
So that's definitely classified up from what we had as a kid or didn't have.
Yeah, that alternate head's great.
Some more looks all the way around. Usually we get leaks and it's like one little thing, but these are among the best. We don't usually get really clear photos, but they did a good job this time, kind of giving us a full display with the accessories and everything.
Yeah, and I saw they leaked. Coming back to the crystal ball, I saw they leaked out the head at some point a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
too.
it came out today. It was before I did these slides.
Sorry.
No, good.
It's out there.
I love this mask. Great head sculpt. Oh, yeah. Too. Really, really great.
Nice scar.
I can't believe Hasbro Ken Best is getting me to buy figures that I hated as a kid. I mean, yeah, like Metalhead and even Raptor. Like some of these figures were not
it started with.
There's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah.
Like,
what was that,
Master? Oh, yeah.
No,
please.
Going to you, KJ. Going to you.
Like if they could get Croc Master off shelves, they could do anything. Like I know people who bought like 3 Croc Masters because they needed 3 crocodiles. And you talk about Raptor, you talk about all these other left field picks. I feel like the Joe team can't do any wrong at this point.
I think they're crushing. And it's funny you mentioned Crocmaster because I generally really just want like the really updated versions, like I love it when they really kind of modernize things and give us a little fresh take. But Crocmaster was one of those figures that just came out in 6-inch size with an awesome crocodile, and that was all it needed to be. And it was amazing,
Fiona.
Love Crocmaster.
Yeah, awesome. Let me definitely want to address a comment here because I should have said this from the get-go. Look, if you have questions for Skeletron, we will take them. What I normally do is if we have the subject we're talking about what you asked, I'll pull it up. If not, we'll pull it up at the end. We'll definitely do a little Q&A at the end. We're not going to keep these guys all night, hopefully within 2 hours. But yeah, we'll try to get to your questions. I have them saved. If you ask them a question, I will save them. So stay tuned and we'll get to your questions. If we don't already ask them, we'll get to them. And so now we have Breaker. And what I'm hearing about this guy is that it could be part of the mass device, KJ. Remember that whole mass device? What was it?
Yeah.
What was the name of that tease called? Something of the mass device? It was
Hunt for the mass device.
There you go. Yeah. It could be that instead of just retro. That's what I'm hearing. What do you think?
If they can pull it off, I mean, it could go one of two ways. They can make it teeny, because if you watch the Sunbow series, the mass device is enormous. It's like, the size of a building, damn near. So if you look at the DVD battles, the 2-packs, when they first had the assembling the mass device, it was more like the size of a shoebox almost. So there's a lot of ways to break it up. They could do it really piecemeal. That's what McFarlane would do. You would have to buy like a dozen figures in order to put that thing together. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how it all shakes out. I know that Snake Eyes and the Polar Bear is going to come with the crystals and some of the raw materials to begin with. And so how the paneling, how the different pieces shake out, we'll see.
Nice. Do want to comment, get Chaz in here. He's always funny doing the memes. If we ain't getting shit for the first part of 25, then all we have is to get excited are for these leaks. Yeah, pretty much.
I would say consider that a break for the wallet. Classifieds hits the wallet hard.
Hey, I gotta while Chaz is on there, I gotta give him a shout out. His memes are good.
Yes.
Yeah, solid. I don't always like them all because I'm like, am I getting in trouble if I like this? I don't know, but it's fun. nice work.
That's hilarious. That's funny. Yeah. So then I guess this was like an unreleased face for Clutch, a canceled Clutch head because it's got a cigarette there, obviously.
A deleted scene.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let that fly, but I thought that was funny that they got a hold of this.
It's a good looking sculpt. It looks cool.
All right. And then moving on, we got Darklon.
The first Jamaican Cobra. Darklon one time. Boom!
Is that all we got? We got on that shot?
Any comments on Darklon?
All he needs is a bobsled team, and he'll be good to go.
Boy.
At this point, it's going to come down to
I don't even really remember Darklon. I'll be perfectly honest.
Oh, Darklon's cool. I had Darklon's probably one of the later figures that I had. And what was it? The Evader? Is that what it was called? His vehicle? I forget what the vehicle was named.
Evader.
Yeah. So I would guess. I mean, do we know yet? Is this coming with the Evader? I would think it will, right? Because you can't do Darklon if you're not going to step up.
I mean, there's been a lot of look at Copperhead, Zartan. They didn't really come with their vehicles either, and they're small. Yeah. So I mean, I would, yeah.
Yeah, and if I'm being honest, there are a lot of smaller vehicles I'd rather get than the Evader.
The Evader, I think, is pretty cool. Actually, it's cool. Like the Swamp Skier from Zartan was a really kind of lame vehicle for a badass figure. I always thought.
Yeah. No, it'll be a single release. I mean, then there was also the rumor that Iron Grenadiers Destro wasn't coming with the despoiler. And I know we're going to talk about that in a few seconds, but I don't know why it's too much tooling and they just want to get the figures out. I don't really know what it is here. Chris G says that was supposed to be a toothpick, and it looks like a smoke. Well, that's a thick toothpick.
Yeah, the toothpick would be pretty hard to pull off, even in that scale.
Well, I mean, Razor Ramon has it in WWE Elite, and no one confused that to be a cigarette or a blunt. So, those are 6.5, not 6.
Yeah, but you can even have it tip around because then it'll look like a joint instead of a cigarette.
Yeah, let's see. All right, cool. Right here, figure 6-pack. I think he was the impromptu leader for the Python Patrol in the comic book run. I don't remember that either, but that's cool. Don't be an Evader hater.
That's right, Baldy Locks. Don't be I'm with Baldy Locks there.
All right.
Sure.
Cool. All right. So,
I
you know,
took
obviously I
that
don't have to ask you the question because I already did. Your wish list for classified Joes and vehicles, Cobra Fang and the Shark. This was you, Mark.
Yeah, Shark was one of my favorites. That was one of my Christmas gifts I got, I think the same year as my Rattler. These are two vehicles too that I think, you know, they'd be fairly easy to pull off scale wise in classified. It's not, you know, you're not talking a really large vehicle here. And I just love the Shark. I love the guns that pop out of that thing. I wasn't as big a fan of Deep Six, mainly because his whole glass thing got all fogged up and then I couldn't see his face anymore. But overall, I really love the Shark.
I got to give a
And a
shout out
follow-up.
to the Rise of Cobra movie, which doesn't get too many shout outs, but damn it, they had sharks in their third act
Everywhere.
battle. So props to them. Props to them for throwing in the shark in there.
Good shout. Ben, any comment on these two? I know one of them you had on your list.
Yeah. So I guess the Shark's cool. I really didn't. I actually had the Shark as a kid, and I really disliked the figure because of the poor articulation. I really
the figure wasn't great.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I remember thinking he was terrible. You know, and I didn't get a ton of Joes. It was like, you know, like so when you got something, it was like, oh, and I remember being disappointed with the figure. It's a cool.
I think I usually
cool
swapped out Deep Six for Shipwreck. That's who I usually manned my Shark.
No, that'd be a good call. So the Fang, I couldn't agree more. Like for me, number one vehicle that's got to come out and classified is the Cobra.
It's doable.
Fang.
It's doable for the
super
cost.
doable. It's super iconic. You know, it's kind of like for me, it's like up there. You know, it's like up there. Hiss Tank, Stinger, Fang.
Barrett.
Those are kind of my what I would go to. And considering the Fang's the smallest one, it feels like it should be a shoe-in, right?
Yeah. I'm surprised we haven't gotten the Fang by now, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
And they teased it in the back of help me out here. It just happened. It was at
Starduster.
Starduster. It was in the back. They used the 118 one in the back, but you know, it's a tease. They don't do stuff for no reason. I think everything's an Easter egg.
Right on.
Oh, and there's just another look at the Shark.
Oh, it's great. I love that vehicle.
Now, if they did a Shark, maybe they could do a Sky Shark and do the back metal. That would help.
Nice. And there's the Fang. Yep. Yeah, real easy. Should happen for sure. Cool. And then the spoiler. Yeah, I think Ben, you said this was the other one, and then we did get the leak news that it is leak, so things could change. But the deluxe Destro, it's deluxe, and it's not coming with a vehicle because it's $34.99 supposedly, and that's definitely
not going to include the spoiler. Well,
yeah,
dude, we got to talk to Lenny about this because if they do this Destro without the despoiler, then I think we're in trouble. You know, like it could be a long while before they would get to the despoiler. But I would hope I would love to see this despoiler, and I would love to see it upgraded where they do the gold back metal on Destro's head. They carry that through on all the gold on the despoiler, because then it'll really pop.
It would also be expensive, but
yeah, I actually did back chrome a despoiler once as a gift for a buddy of mine, and it's hot.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean they did the VAC metal retro Cobra Commander, so now we're expecting it on everything. And I think what was it? They just showed the retro Viper and it didn't have it, so people were disappointed in it. And let's see what Patrick says. I think I heard they want despoilers army built. Oh, okay, I got you. But so it would come like with a RAM. So that's the thing. They probably want to do their vehicles without popular characters, so that way that makes sense.
But I mean, how many despoilers are you really gonna sell, you think? I mean,
some people will buy. I mean, like
Destro's despoiler, though. I mean, we all know it's for Destro.
If we don't get the despoiler, the line is dead. Cool. KJ, what are you thinking about this one?
I think not having Destro with the despoiler is a mistake. There's a danger of moving too slow, especially with the delays that we're going to be looking at in 2025. Never mind things happening on a high level. Let's put it that way. The point is, if you don't strike while that iron is hot, it doesn't stay hot. Like the striking is what keeps it hot. It's like the Classified series has done a good job of educating collectors and fans how cool this line is. Like on Black India's Instagram, I get to talk about Glendale. I get to talk about Quarrel and Z-Force and all these other things that people may not know about. They're like, huh? And I have to show them just how far back that lore goes. And so with charging the spoiler separate or making people buy a second Iron Grenadier's Destro to go along with that spoiler, I think that's a mistake.
Cool. And I think this one would be pretty rad. And if Hasbro doesn't do it, Skeletron could. And we'll get into that question much later, but I had to show up. Destro's Dominator. This one says Skeletron all over it, boys.
What do those colors do?
Yeah. Great colors.
Oh.
IG's got great colors.
And then there's a look at the pair.
So I never played with one of those as a kid. Did you have one of those?
Nope.
My brother had Destro's Despoiler, so I got to play with it. It wasn't mine, but I got to play with it. It was fun. It's a good one.
I didn't even know anyone in the neighborhood that had that one.
Nope.
That's cool.
I am going to get to I saved some of Justin's questions, but we can't answer this because we're talking classified. Are you thinking people abandon classified because of the delays? No. KJ says yes. KJ?
Yeah. Because there's just other lines to collect. There's other places to go. People are fickle.
I think that's really interesting perspective, KJ, because I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I am almost like overwhelmed with the amount of classified product coming my way right now.
Yeah. Okay.
So like I can't even hardly I really can't keep up with all of it right now. So I've got I've got like a queue, you know what I mean? Like it comes in, it sits for a while. I don't even open it up right away. So for me, like I actually feel like if the pace slowed a little bit, I'd be totally cool with it.
Okay.
But I don't know. What do the rest of you guys think?
Mark?
I'm a little bit in the same boat, but I think some of that is just, we spend so much time, working on the Skeletron line too. So, it's just, but at the same time, I open a lot of classified figures just because they're great. And I love, seeing what they're doing too. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn on that because on the one hand, you could argue that, you can saturate the market a little bit, not just with classified, but with, what Marvel's doing, what, Star Wars, the 6-inch Black Series that they're doing. So yeah, it is kind of tough to really know how to pace things out, I guess. But at some point, I do think people do need like I said, a wallet break where it's like, I gotta catch my breath a little bit here. Cause especially for completionists, it's going to drive them crazy if, they can't get something for whatever reason. Right. So I don't know, there is kind of it's tricky how you pace those things out.
Gotcha. I do want to give a shout out to David Warren Hernandez. We are going to talk about you, good sir, in a little while, but good evening to you. We definitely have a spotlight on you for a little bit. But as far as the question, I think people talk big online. I don't think the line is dead. I don't think you're going to sell all your toys because there's a little 6-month, 8-month break. I also have like maybe 5 or 6 boxes of classified figures I didn't open yet. Part of that just had to be without not being in town. But there's so much. I think part of what KJ is saying is true too. There's so many toys, right? So part of me not opening those 5 or 6 is because I've got the Robo Skull, I've got Operation Monster Force, I've got Marvel Legends, which is they had a terrific year as well. So the last vehicle, Ben, that you told me, it's not a vehicle, it's a play set. They kind of did. You said a Cobra bunker, but they did make a porta potty version of that right here. So what do you think about this? We'll look at the classic. You said you wanted this one, but what do you think of this and what the possibilities of it are and what
I'll
they could
take
do?
it. Hey, they did it. I'll take it, man. That's great.
Yeah, those play sets are great. I'd like to see a few more play sets. I think that's really fun. I think anytime you can enhance any type of dio setup, I think that's fantastic.
I had a real, for whatever reason, I had a real nostalgia for this particular bunker. Always thought it was super cool with like the Cobra logo, like really not like largely, sculpted onto the front, and then the dome shape. So to me, it's just like this little one for me is just like a nice hit of nostalgia from my childhood. But like I was saying, Travis, I was like, I don't know if it would peg warm. You know what I mean? Like, is it a great display piece, or do people just not care? I don't know.
Well, it's one of those that people are going to buy multiples of, right, KJ? So I don't think if it's pulse only, right? So it's not going to peg warm. But if it was on the shelf, it could be clearance waiting on this. I don't know. What's your opinion on the KJ on the I don't know. There's Trench Viper and the
Trench Viper with the Cobra modular fortification. I'm of two minds because making it a Pulse exclusive is smart. You don't have to worry about people substituting the Trench Viper with a Snickers bar and then returning it to the store or anything like that. I think they missed out on an opportunity of putting that Cobra logo at least on the front if they weren't going to keep that iconic dome shape, and they could do a retro diorama, right? Like, so we have the retro card backs. They could have classified retro boxes, and the Cobra bunker would be perfect for that. And especially with a missile that works with the blast effects from the Stinger, from the His tank, and so on. So there's a lot of room to grow. JELLO. Sorry.
That Trench Viper is really cool, though. The figure there is awesome.
Yeah, we'll pull that up.
Yeah, I love that deco.
Very amazing, smart repeat.
Urban Digicam is sick.
Yeah, for sure.
Whoa, show. Look, some people are really kind because I'm a bad YouTuber, and they're reminding everybody to smash that like button. Look, we've got Skeletron on, and we're talking about G.I. Joe Classified with Skeletron. Come on, that's cool. Smash the like button, guys. Hit the like, and appreciate you, Mr. McFly and Figure Fight Club. Do the right thing. Hit the like button. Help that algorithm get people on and watching. I see that there's a lot of questions. Let's see if we're gonna say. If you're coming in, I know this is a good sized crowd now. If you're coming in and you have questions for Skeletron, we'll save them unless we're talking about it on the screen. Then we'll pull them up. Let's see. Wow, this is a good comment. Winter Star, never seen this name before. Thanks for joining. If only there were a company that made a vehicle that could fit well with 6-inch G.I. Joe, Star Wars, and Marvel Legends action figures. If only, guys. I don't know who could do it, but somebody could do it.
Thanks, Winter Star.
Oh, little
you could fit a Masters of the Universe goes in there pretty slick too.
We're going to talk about that because just about everything fits inside a Robo Skull.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
All right. Lots of questions, guys, but we got to move on. And we're going to stick with some G.I. Joe talk because I asked these guys. I doubt they did it. Metroid works.
Mark loves Metroid. You got Mark now. Mark didn't hold on.
I knew you guys were.
Here she comes.
Figma show off, and he's got the Figma Metroid. He's got the same Figma.
That's cool.
I can't keep up with these guys. The rat.
You just hit on a favorite of mine, KJ.
You guys really kicked a lot of ass with this, man. Come on, man. Sorry, go ahead, Travis.
Thanks, dude.
Don't mind me. Oh, come on. With the blood.
No, you're good. I'm trying to think.
So good.
We got Dre of the Collector Safe Space. All right, hey, what's up? Joining us. Look, one of the missions I gave these guys was to open up their Dragonfly, but I don't think that happened, right, guys? You didn't get to.
Oh, I played with my Dragonfly over Thanksgiving. We were battling. My nieces and nephews were battling Dragonfly versus Robo Skull over the weekend. It was great.
Sick.
Yeah,
very cool.
Sadly, mine's boxed still. Right here.
All right, we're just gonna watch KJ play the whole time.
Oh, I love it.
Actually, I got it right here. Yeah. So KJ, you can play. I've got my Dragonfly right here. So, and
it's like Captain Power. Shoot the screen. Shoot the screen. It's like Captain Power. That's old school.
Yeah, I think this thing turned out absolutely marvelous. I love this shooting missile on this. It's just it's too cool. It's too much fun. What a great look. You know, love that.
Yeah. What up, Mage TV?
Yeah, I'm seeing some new names I haven't seen on Toy Con Move. If you're new, join us, like us, subscribe. That'd be nice. Hey,
Shout out to
and
Nashville. Great food, even better music.
KJ, question for you, bro. Has anyone done a zombie Dragonfly? You're in the community heavy. What do you think?
I don't. The only person I would know doing that would be Gun Bunny Customs. I've seen there were some people in GI Joe Classified Elite. Shout out to Marauder Ruben. They did put on some of the zombie decals on their Dragonfly, but I can't name who.
Got it. Very cool.
Okay, Baldy Lock Zin says MCR did. No. Baldy says he did.
I did.
He did that.
Well, let's see it, Baldy. But yeah, there you go. There's just a look at the two, how they stacked up. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Two of the best toys of the year for sure.
Oh my goodness! Like this is them approaching. They're about to like light up some Joe Space Force. They're on some. Yeah, this is great. Sorry, don't mind me. Please continue.
No, it's great. We love it.
This so one of the things I loved about the Dragonfly was I really love these connectors on these that pop. These really click in, really slick. You know, for these different for the winch and these missiles and the different pieces. Like that's a really slick connector right there.
Oh yeah. Mark, where's yours, man? You didn't get a chance, did you?
Mine's in this big brown box sitting right next to me, unfortunately. I wish, I gotta pop that thing out. I've been trying to, and then every spare moment seems to like fizzle away.
All good. All right, cool. I gotta ask you guys. All right.
Gage, you're cracking me up, man. That's awesome. You can do like a fly through your place, you know. Oh, you're muted.
No, I'm not muted. I'm just messing with Travis. Because he muted.
Oh, okay.
I muted him because you got a really squeaky chair. So when you're moving around, it's loud. Yeah, you're good. Cool. All right. I got to ask you guys a question about the Dragonfly because we got lighting effects. And one of the things I thought that really made the Dragonfly special. Look, the Hiss had lighting effects. It was cool as the Cobra logo. I don't use them too often, but the Dragonfly, I use it almost every single time. Was there any thought to maybe getting lighting effects in the Robo Skull at one point, or did you want to keep? Because by the way, I think the value of the cost of Robo Skull is tremendous, especially from an independent toy maker. You're not a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. So I thought that was terrific. But did adding those effects mainly just cost you guys out, or is that too much time? What was? I'll go with you, Ben. What do you think about the lighting effects possibility with the Robo Skull?
I think lighting effects are obviously really cool and they're amazing for photography. And they look awesome in that shot too. I haven't actually put batteries in my Dragonfly, so I haven't actually seen the lighting effects in it, but everybody said that they're incredible. My thing with lighting effects is I like to display it, and then the few toys that I've had that have the lighting effects, I love it when they're lit up, like the eyes light up, like on a robot, and then they die, and then the batteries go bad, and then I never want to put them, and I never want to mess with them again. So for me, I think it's a really cool feature, but it's not something that I, as a collector, need to have because of the I want to leave them on all the time, and then they'll just stop working, and then I'll never swap them out. Now, Mark, on the other hand, is a very different opinion on this, and it's funny you bring it up because he and I had many conversations about lighting in the Robo Skull, and ultimately, it wasn't something that I would say we cost out of it. It was something that we felt that I believe we couldn't add because I'm like, there's no way this won't add to an already really lengthy process to get this to market. So I think between me personally not feeling like I had to have it, and the potential that it could delay the project even further. Obviously, it took a long time as it was. I was kind of the no guy, and I think it's the only thing I said no to on the whole project because we basically threw everything we wanted to do, we put into this, except that. So it's probably still a sore subject for Mark. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, it still gets me right here. It's all right. It's all good though. But like Ben said, I mean, it was something that it's one of those cool features that Like right away, it's neat. And again, toy photography, it's fantastic. But in the end, yeah, it's like I won't display it with with it turned on, and it's something that we talked about. And again, anything that was going to cause any potential additional delays that wasn't part of the initial scope, it wasn't making a lot of sense for us. So
Great. Cool. And I think KJ had a follow-up question on vehicles for you guys.
Yeah, so beyond Dragonfly, some of the other HasLabs that we've seen, Histing, Ecto 1, you name it, what are some of your favorite 112 vehicles on market at the moment right now? You wanted to, if anything, come to mind.
Yeah, well, I still have to crack my Stinger open, so I'm really excited to get to that one. So that's like kind of a little like I love the Stinger vehicle, and I've seen all the photos. I know it's a kick-ass vehicle, so I'm excited to carve some time out to crack that open and play with it because I've always loved the Stinger. I always thought it was a super, super badass Jeep. So that's probably the one I'm looking forward to, opening up. I have it, but I haven't, gifted it to myself and played with it yet.
yeah, 112th is tricky, right? Because I have that Razor Crest taking up a lot of space, looking cool. I got a Ghost that's coming in from the Star Wars HasLab. But yeah, the 112 scale, not again like Ben said, between the different I still have to get into my Firefly or my Dragonfly. I mean, so
man, I would have loved to have had a 112 scale Firefly, but never mind.
Yeah. So yeah, not too much other than that right now.
One thing that caught my eye recently was Gridiron, and I haven't picked it up yet, but Gridiron did those mech legs that combo with the Trouble Bubble, and I thought that was really cool because the Trouble Bubble is a fun one, but for whatever reason, like it just seemed, I just really liked it what they did. Those guys are doing really cool, some really cool design work over at Gridiron, and I love that what they did with those legs to mash up with the Trouble Bubble.
Hold on a second, I can show those legs off.
No, I got it here.
Man.
Right here, guy.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's fun. Oh, those are great.
Yeah.
The articulation, it's next level for 3D printing. It's crazy what they were able to do with these at the joints and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying to be
nice
careful,
work.
but I've never had a 3D printed accessory feel this durable that felt as sturdy as injection molding. So
Have you gotten stuff from them previously, KJ, or is that the first thing you picked up?
No. I'm a Gridiron general, sir. I am.
Oh, okay. So it's even so you're saying this latest one's even better than their old stuff because I picked up some pieces of theirs a while back, over the years, and I've always thought the quality level has been really impressive on everything.
But I think they've taken it even up a notch, and they have pretty much a new updated snake armor now. And I'm getting the Mac uppers. We'll see how everything else shakes out. But here's what they did to their Stinger, right? So they have a roll cage. I have a SAM array on mine. Just really fortified it. The off-road.
Yeah, man, that's badass.
So, maybe you could have a special request since you're the creator of the Robo Skull. Holler at the Von Cannons. Maybe you guys can work something out because I highly recommend doing this to your Stinger. And if you have the Vamp, you can still get those pieces as well. I am a big fan.
Cool.
Well, great. This was actually part of the future notes of the show, but I'm just going to jump into it. We'll get into some of the collaborations later with other folks, but I mean, this could be someone you could work with. Have you ever talked to Mark Von Cannon, either one of you, and have you discussed maybe anything, just whether it's casual or any kind of
we've
relationship? Because I mean, look right here, right? I mean, we could get the Red Shadows version of what Mark's making.
Yeah, I mean, we talked to all the guys. So I've talked to Mark, and we flirted back and forth a little bit. And I think it's really just that he's working with cool people. He's working with he's got some stuff going with Fresh Monkey and in the workshop over there, and he's doing his own thing. And obviously with this too, talk to Brian Flynn. What a cool, he's a cool guy. Everybody, there's so many cool creators in the space right now, and so many cool things, yet to be created and done.
And there's the old school Red Shadow escape armor. So I mean, yeah, I mean,
I think
don't
we
know,
need
could
that.
be yeah, it could be a cool ode to at least what, even if Mark just makes this alone and just paints the other one red, it could just be a cool ode to what you guys are doing. And then his buddy, obviously, he's working right with Fresh Monkey being Captain Gridiron, so it could be like a loose, a loose partnership there or something. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. We're game.
What are your thoughts on that, Mark? Collaborating with Gridiron, and I know you guys had just mentioned Fresh Monkey as well. I mean, we've got Red Shadows right there. I mean, the one on the left, I just saw on message boards being like, that would be a cool driver, especially for the one that's behind you. The special edition with the yellow horns there, the Red Demon would be fun. But then obviously we've got the Exterminator helmet there for a future Crimson Moon Red Shadows fig.
Oh,
yeah,
I think I have to say. Oh,
yeah.
Please.
No, go ahead, KJ. Go ahead.
Please. You're our guest.
I was gonna say, so I have a couple of the Monster Force figures. I think those turned out fantastic. They're Crimson Moon guys. I see, and yeah, exactly. I have that guy. I got one of the Obsidian ones, and they're a lot of fun. The articulation is great on it. I think those guys have done a great job. The Gridiron guys, they knock it out of the park. Their sculpts are fantastic. Their quality is great. And so, any type of, Ben and I are always open to collaboration. I think we show it with Grindstone Toys when we, connected with those guys in working on the O-ring figures. So, and then obviously our partnership with Marauder, we love, if there's an opportunity to partner up with someone, we're definitely open to it, as long as you can make cool stuff. That's really all it comes down to.
And I love the scene.
Shout out to Total. Sorry, Travis. Apologies. I also want to, since we're talking partners, I want to shout out to Total Toy Books and Brian Hickey, who got a really kick-ass, first ever reprinting of the Battle Action Force comics from the UK from 40 years ago that are going to be hitting the USA very soon. So
very soon. And then, I mean, while we're at it, shout out to Brian. Obviously, you and Brian joined me not too long ago. Maybe it was a couple months ago. We had an awesome chat over everything Red Shadows and the Total Action Force books. But before we go too far, KJ, did you have a comment that you wanted to tell Mark earlier? I'm sorry about that. It was a lot of
No. I was just saying that this Red Skull goes with everything. It goes like, here's a fire team Range Viper.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah.
Nice.
And I was just going to, but Travis, you have pretty good taste yourself, because right now you currently have the MCU Red Skull piloting the Robo Skull, and it's perfect.
He's laying down.
He's got the business class seat where he can lay down.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, very cool.
Our buddies over at Delta 17 just put up a great photo of their ninja robot in red and black jumping into the Robo Skull too. So there's another great, look at that, right on. KJ is just queued up with everything, man. Yeah, it's a great, I love this figure, really cool figure. Great guys over at Delta 17. Steven Kent are great dudes. So
yeah, that's a great figure. Love the colors. But your
fantastic.
other figures are great too, man. Delta 17 has some really fun O-rings. So,
All right, we got a question that is related to what we're talking about. I ordered some of the Marauder figures. Another shout out right there, like the Robo Skull, Cold Pilot, and Metal Wolf. Any plans for additional collaboration figures with Marauder Inc.?
Yeah, definitely. So, I think on a couple different levels, like we're going to continue. MJ over at Marauders become just a really good friend, and so that's why we set up together at Joe Fest and shared a booth together, and all of our figures are all of our 4-inch figures are Marauder compatible. So it's a really, it's already kind of a built-in collaboration, right? Because everything that we're coming out 4-inch, other than the O-rings, that's a different thing. But our modern 4-inch figures are going to continue to be completely compatible with Marauder. And then Marauder, he's a mad scientist. He's doing fun stuff like just last Saturday night, he was cooking up some of those geared up figures that he does. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those geared up events that he does, but he'll kind of create using his insane, inventory of different parts and pieces that he has to kind of cook up special figures and do special things. So I think the sky's the limit as far as where that might go in that partnership. But we're definitely we're talking. MJ and I talk regularly, and we're collaborators on a lot of things. And I think that's one of the things that if you've been paying attention, maybe you realize, but the community's not that big. So like a lot of our friends, like the Grindstone guys, like they're working on a lot of stuff for Skeletron. And then Mark and I are helping them with their projects as well. So there's just a lot of, there is a lot of just collaboration and hangout and guys helping each other out to get, to improve products and generate ideas and just have a good time.
And one of those collaborations you have is with Chris Scott, who you and I hung out with. He's helping out Bill Fresh Monkey Fiction. We talked about Gridiron. That's more of a loose, it feels more of an admiration. But since these guys are dipping their toes into something Red Shadows, was there any deeper talks with Bill? And by the way, Bill Murphy, shout out to him. He's going to be on the show again soon. We talked about talking about the third wave, but anything with Fresh Monkey that seems more solidified?
So I've definitely talked to Bill about stuff. He's a great guy. I actually had lunch with him just a couple months ago. So we talked about a lot of things. He's really I think you can ask him, but I think he's really focused on his Monster Force right now and those kind of unique characters that he's building and that whole universe that he's building that's really specific to Monster Force, which is a really cool fun concept that he's building. And from my standpoint, better yet, the figures are kick-ass. So great 6-inch figures coming to market. So who knows what the future holds for that. I think we're definitely I'm friends with Bill, and I think right now everybody's just he's focused on his own stuff and we're focused on our own stuff at the moment. But that's not to say who knows what the future might hold, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got a pair of questions from MCR. Was that armor for the Trouble Bubble Gridiron's own design? That was Gridiron's design for the Trouble Bubble, MCR. And then you had a follow-up here that's relative. Have you seen the video where the writer explains the story so far of Operation Monster Force? I mean, I read like the few pages of the comic that come with the figure when I was doing the video reviews and stuff, but I don't know, anybody else have a answer to this?
No, I've not seen that video.
Okay, cool. I don't know what this is. Does anybody?
Rage and Spoon, they were a 3 printer.
Yeah, Raging. Yeah, Raging. So Paul's a really good friend of mine. I've known Paul for over a decade, and he's a great guy. And again, just one of those guys that helps us out. He's an amazing caster. So he'll cast. He'll take 3D prints. He does casting. So he helps us build prototypes before we end up sending them for tooling in China. So he's been part of our process many times in the past. And of course he's got his own complex that project, his first round went off without a hitch, but his second round's had some serious delays. So we've been, trying to help him out with that. But as far as collaboration goes, for sure. So one of the things that his complex system has is an 8.1 millimeter porthole size for some cool things like missile launchers and different kinds of accessories that go on that system. And one of the hidden features of the Robo Skull, and KJ, if you want to pull that back up and be my display man for me, if you look at the side of that wing, there's a hole right there on the dead center, and that is right there. Yeah, so that's actually, and this isn't even, again, this is one of those features that we've just built in. It's not even really part of our operations manual. That happens to be an 8.1 millimeter porthole. And so that will be compatible with Rage and Spoon's 8.1 millimeter missiles and missile silos and different things that are coming out soon. It also holds that really, nope, that's a 5er. That's a 5 too.
Too small.
So the only thing, KJ, you might have around, you're gonna really get a gold star if you got this laying around. Do you have any of like the GI Joe 30th anniversary vehicles that had like the missile launchers and stuff on them? No.
I do not
But
have
if you did, you could put a missile launcher, a spring-loaded missile launcher onto the Robo Skull as an extra armament.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Big shout out to Adam House Shark Guides. Thanks for rocking with us, dude. Yeah. Sure. Once again, Yeah. No, go ahead.
Nope.
Travis, go ahead.
Here we go.
So cool. Good.
That looks killer.
That's a great figure for that.
Yeah. Nice. I was just gonna say, guys, thanks for tuning in. And if you're watching, like the show. We got Skeletron, we got Mark and Ben here to talk about it. And we talk about the Robo Skull. So let's talk about the Robo Skull, that pretty little red thing KJ has in his hand. And I do gotta give you guys an awesome shout out. Thank you so much for getting these out to me a little earlier than usual. And it was a blast, man. You guys made my Thanksgiving. I have so much to be thankful for, especially from you guys. Thanks. I hope the review did some of the things justice here. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate you taking the time. I know it takes a lot of time to put that together, man. So thank you for doing that. That's super cool.
Appreciate that so much. Yeah, it was fun to have them both, and then be able to kind of knock out a versus right away and not have to wait and see. So that was absolutely flattered that I got to do that. And this was fun because this was around Thanksgiving. So shout out to Frank Joseph here with the Macy's parade pick. That was pretty.
Oh, that's funny.
That's great.
Pretty hilarious there. People are having a lot of fun with this thing, right? I mean, it's Mark. You see it. Maybe I don't know if it's meme level yet, but people in the groups are doing all kind of things with this.
We're having a lot of fun. Yeah, we're having a ton of fun just seeing the response from people, and there's from the fun dial shots to then pictures like this. Yeah, man, it's fun to watch. It's great.
And then we even got the steps and everything here. So I think it was Dacker Bush. I can't.
Yeah, Dacker Bush.
Yeah,
Dacker Bush. Yeah, he had some good shots with like the steps and everything right there. But yeah, KJ, you want to open it up with a question you got there?
Yeah. So this thing is incredible. Shout out to your Facebook group, Skeletron Secret Lab, and everyone else. But how has the response been so far to this magnificent vehicle? Like, was it what you expected it would be? Has it been like, man, we thought we were going to get a lot of pop than that? Like,
no, I don't think it could be any better than it has. I don't think we could have asked for anything more than what we got. There's just no way, because for people to say things like toy, for people to be throwing around, obviously taking it as, but to say toy of the year to us, I've had a lot of people say that they genuinely had that feeling like it was Christmas morning. And then we've had a lot of people that have been pretty vocal about us being late on this. And then they came back around and said, man, you know what? This was 1000% worth the wait, to get the final product. So, the response has been, knock on wood, but it's been just over the moon. The reception has been, it's just been over the top. A lot of love, just tremendous amount of love and appreciation for the final product quality and what we put into it. And we did. I mean, we put a lot into it. We put a lot of thought into it. Like all that play value that we're trying to add, the design work. We put a lot into it to make it, super high quality product that we'd be really proud of. This is one of those things that, I wanted to endeavor to do because it was something that I wanted. And then the Kickstarter was like, let's find out if other people want it as well. But really this is my dream to be able to make, this Robo Skull. And so you get a shot. We got a shot at that, which is amazing. So to deliver it and have everybody absolutely over the top love it has been a real treat.
Yeah, I think when you hear the phrase worth the wait, knowing what it took to get there, it means a lot. It carries a lot of weight for us. It's very meaningful because yeah, I mean we pumped a lot of heart and soul into this bad boy. So to honestly, KJ, watching you play with that thing, man, that just brings pure joy to me. So it's just awesome.
This thing's made me happy. I was gonna wait.
Which makes us happy. So
I'm gonna put this is the next driver. So we'll see how this looks.
Nice.
We'll see how this looks in the Robo Skull. This is up next. So
kick ass, man. Yeah,
that's awesome.
You got to send us pictures of that. I want to see that.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it's going in right now.
That's awesome. But that's another thing. Like what you're saying, KJ, about it made me happy. Like that's like what's a better compliment that somebody can give? And we're hearing that a lot, right? Like people are opening it up and they're like putting a smile on their face and having fun with it. And that's that's all we can ask for.
I gotta say there. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, KJ.
No, please.
No, I go.
You're our guest, and I talk too much. Ask Travis.
So all I was gonna say is just to add to that is just it's been really neat, seeing you about to throw a Terminator into that thing. It's been neat seeing all the different figures going into. People are just like, I'm putting this guy in. I'm putting, it's really fun seeing all the different characters and figures people have out there. I got an old Chuck Norris somewhere. I think I need to throw in this thing too. So
I just want to say that.
Funny.
Oh, go ahead. No,
Read
this is great.
AJ.
Dragonfly is the trophy wife, and the Robo Skull is that hot ass side piece you're dying to get your hands on. Good old thing.
Leave it a baldy.
I'm being honest here. There are entire action figure lines that haven't given me the height of joy that handling this Robo Skull over the last few days has. And I'm going to leave it right there because this is really about celebrating you fine folks. This is about celebrating Skeletron and the legacy, the torch you picked up from Bob Brechin, from Palatoy, and everything else. And not only that, but you two are just absolute gentlemen. And some people take that for granted. Some people feel like they don't need that. But for me, character is everything. And I see that you poured all your heart and soul into this thing, and it shows. That this is not a hack piece. This isn't a scam. This is the real deal. I wish every action figure manufacturer made things this good. And I'm being sincere.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Now let's put a Terminator inside of it.
Yes.
Well said. All right, look, we're gonna get. I think we've gotten this question a million times. We'll just get right to it. Can people still buy the Robo Skull? Is the one I just showed the crowdfund? Is it just a crowdfund exclusive? The special edition? Will there be more produced, or is it gone forever, guys? Is there more Robo Skulls to buy?
The SE is gone forever. So if you want the SE and you missed out on it, you've got to pick up that on the secondary market.
$1,000. Buy it right now. $1,000, guys. Open, not sealed. I'm kidding.
The bidding starts in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh,
my guy.
But the regular Robo Skull Mark II will be available online for purchase next up at skeletron.com later this month. Hopefully later this month. We're going to wait. We don't have a date out because we want to make sure everybody who backed this thing has their Robo Skulls in their hands. And once that happens, then we'll announce a date for when this is going to go up for sale.
Mm-hmm. Chaz is not thrilled. My 2 Robo Skulls, he has 2, shout out to that, were supposed to be delivered today, but FedEx has them at hold at a local hub. Angry. Yeah, well, you're getting one. You're getting 2. You don't have to go on eBay, and you don't have to wait. So that's good.
Sorry, man. Everybody's got their carrier that they love or hate, and FedEx has always been really good to me. And I was really excited that we were going to be able to use FedEx home delivery. And in a couple places, the elite flight stands that ship DHL beat the Robo Skull for a couple of guys, even on like a 2-day, even with a 2-day head start. So that sucks, man. I'm sorry that it got held up.
Yeah, got it. I see a lot of questions, guys. I'm saving them, so stay tuned. I know it's probably late on the East Coast, or watch the replay, but we got a lot of stuff in our notes that a lot of you guys are asking, but we'll definitely give you guys a shout there. KJ, I think you got one more question in this section before we get to Bob Brechin and Palatoy.
Yeah, I definitely do. And I just want to say one shout out to the endoskeleton and the Robo Skull.
That's beautiful.
And what was the moment that you knew this was going to work? That you're like, okay, we did it. This works. We got it.
As far as like as far as it was gonna happen, we were gonna move forward with it. That kind of a thing, KJ, or like when we finally had the final design and we're like, that's
when you had the design, when you had it in hand, you're like, okay, this did it. This is gonna work. Was it like 2 years ago? Was it like?
Well, when we had the prototype, we were like, this is when we did the Kickstarter, we're like, this is gonna work, you know, and then even before that, I really felt like it was gonna work when we brought the team together, and it was like this team's gonna get it done. You know, we had a great team. And then from there, though, from the prototype, it is just a long process of, there's so many individual pieces on that beast. So you've got tooling, you've got revisions and revisions and revisions on lots of different bits and parts on this thing. So we knew it was coming. We just didn't know what was going to be, what was going to be done first. It was surprising sometimes the things that seemed really complex that went easily, and things that we thought would be simple gave us some trouble. So it was a process, but there was never any doubt once we had that prototype and launched the Kickstarter and saw the fan reaction that I guess that's the moment, right? Where, that when we launched the Kickstarter, that goes from like, am I going to have a really expensive prototype, or are we going to do this?
Hey, right. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, breathe a sigh of relief, man, because this makes this look better. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, yeah, you guys did it.
Mm-hmm.
You guys got the sauce. You don't just have the juice. You have the sauce.
I like that. Cool. Well, this guy brought the sauce back in the 80s, and he inspired all of us today. But Bob, man, what a fun guy. Obviously, you guys know him like a dad, right? Or an uncle. But you had a great panel at Joe Fest, and that was a blast. And I got to meet him. Look, I'm not old school with Palatoy and Action Force. I'm learning about all that thanks to you guys, Brian Hickey, Patty Lennon, a lot of great people in the community. And it's a new universe for me, growing up with just G.I. Joe. So it's great to learn about the British version of it, right? But now look, he got his hands on it. How did that make you feel, right? He's the one who OG'd the thing.
It's a really good feeling. It really is. And he's so thrilled and proud of he's so proud of this and so happy for this, which, it makes you feel, it does. It hits me right in the feels for sure. And, KJ was just talking about, it's one thing to make great toys, but then talk about the character of people and all the good people in the community, and getting to know Bob. And he's just a really great person. He's a good human being. And to have him be a part of this project was, for us, really special.
Yeah, one of my favorite moments, we were sitting at our booth in Joe Fest, and we had the Robo Skull sitting up on its stand, and it's rotating around. And Bob's just standing there. He's just staring at that thing. He's just looking at it. He goes, "It really is beautiful, isn't it?" And it's like, yeah, man. He's like, high praise from Bob Brechin. So
yeah,
but
KJ, got a comment?
Let's see. We got. Oh, you're talking about reading the comments, or you're talking like for?
We got this. Oh, well, a comment on just this in general, and plus this, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Skeletron actually make this. Like, can we get a retro classic Robo Skull on the horizon?
Oh, I would love to see that, KJ. So we don't own the design for that Palatoy Robo Skull, but if we were able to get it and make it happen, we certainly would love to do that. So that's definitely something that's been talked about. And if we're ever able to make that happen, we will make it happen. But
actually
right now,
oh, good. No, I was just gonna say, I think we have a perfect comment question here that segues into that. we know you guys have the rights to Roboskull and Skeletron. What other names do you have the rights to, or will we find out soon? Great question, Rachel Sleems.
Yeah, so we have so we own the names Roboskull and Skeletron and Red Shadows, and we've put in for some we've got some other trademarks that are coming down the way as well, but those are our three that you're seeing on our products right now.
Oh yeah,
awesome, cool, and then yeah. I don't know, KJ, if you had anything else.
The visual math of updating this design to what it is now is like you can see just the love and affection. You see how that cockpit becomes this, the wings still having dual blasters, that pivot. That Palatoy Roboskull is ahead of its time, and this sucker is ahead of its time. So you see the correlations. Like you see, like you did what Lenny and the Joe team did for Classified. You did what Ryan Menarding did for Marvel Studios, like how they updated all those classic designs. This is the same thing, and like it takes, you have to have a really keen insight with where that common thread of art goes from then and now. Like the more, especially Travis, can we put up that original slide again?
Yeah, we can. And also we have another great one too. Are there any old designs laying around from the original Roboskull designer?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
How's that for a non-answer?
Cool. All right.
Whatever you guys have cooking up.
We got the OGs up there. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's just it's great. It's great looking at the cannons and the eyeballs and yeah, once again, the love is real, and it's great to see that. It's great. The modernization.
Thank you. We really do love the design, and when we went through that design process, we refined it so many times. There's so many, there's countless revisions that went into this to get to the final design, and it was a real collaborative effort. We had Alex Wu as our concept artist, who did really awesome, was just doing amazing inspirational drawings. And then, Mark started picking up the software, started, doing some modeling, and Dave Proctor, Bob Brechin, myself, Chris, McLeod, there was a small, but, a really great team. And we just kept refining it until we all kind of looked at it and said, that's it. There it is. And we're ready to go. So it was a fun process.
Yeah, man. It's the fun has made it all the way into this product. And that reminds me, that great concept art, like the great images that we saw throughout the campaign and afterwards. Is there any way, pretty please, to get posters and prints of that Roboskull art? I will buy posters. I'll buy panoramic prints. Display. Please holler at display. Like, please. Like,
I love that you want. I love that you want that, KJ, and we definitely need to do that. Our focus obviously has been, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I don't want to sell a print on a product and haven't delivered the product yet. So, and we've still got a ways to go. We've got those 6-inch figures that have to come out yet, and so there's work to be done still, and before we wrap up this Kickstarter. So it's been a heck of a long journey, and we're not through it yet.
Cool.
I heard everything you said. I was just busy playing.
All right. So we're going to put our Roboskull down for 10 minutes so we can talk about
Travis,
figures.
So
we could talk about figures. We're going to be here all night. Look, we're going to talk about the figures, Red Shadows, and then we'll circle back around we'll get inside the cockpit of the Roboskull and kind of break down the thing with Mark and Ben. But we got like a million questions on this stuff. So, yes. So here we go. Actually, we got good news right here. Local Base Walker. Hey, thanks for joining the Toy Kind of Mood. I'm in Canada and just got the news that my Roboskull Mark II and Mark II Special Edition will be shipped by next week. There you go.
Yeah, we had that nationwide strike from Canada Post Office. So sorry for your luck, guys. Sorry for the delay on that, but we've got a great fulfillment team, and a new workaround, a new service that does not use Canada Post for final mile delivery, and so that's now in place. And we're gonna get those terrifying, beautiful red skulls flying north.
Hey, Travis, one quick question: how has it been working with Fulfill Right? Your partner, Fulfill Right.
Fantastic. They're wonderful. And anybody that's looking for fulfillment services, hit me up, and I can give you a referral. Great company.
Awesome.
Canada Post right here. Look at this.
Sorry, Ken.
Sorry, Ken.
All right, awesome. Okay, let's get into Red Shadows. Some awesome photography that we've gotten. And Scott, is it Scott Parrott or Perret? How am I saying this?
So I don't know how to pronounce Scott's. I don't know how to pronounce Scott's last name. Scott P.
Well, yeah, Scott Peak crushed it. Look at this. We were talking about Bob. We talked about the figures, Red Shadow, and this is awesome. This image is everything, man. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's a great shot.
It is a great shot. Thanks, Scott.
And then he did more, just the Red Shadows takeover of everything, and just an awesome job. Really love what he's doing.
I love the gyre wolf. I love the gyre wolf. The way he's leaning up on the side up there.
Oh yeah. Just hanging. No, that's cool.
Yeah, just
and then
poses.
I gotta ask Mark, what's up with the? It's a tea mug, right? What's up with that?
Yeah, I mean, some people probably hate that it's not a coffee mug. Like even my family, I think my family probably hates that I drink tea instead of coffee. But yeah, with the Red Weasel character, we definitely wanted to get him a mug. We thought it was, it's just kind of fun doing, fun little things. I think we saw, was it Patty or someone showed us another figure that had another mug, and we're like, oh, that's great, right? We're like, well, this dude needs one. So we hooked him up with a tea mug. So
yeah, it was Hickey in the who is it? The Red Comet character.
Chaz, is that his name? Char. Sorry.
Char. Yeah. It's Gundam, right?
Yeah. I think
it's a Gundam character. I'm not a Gundam guy, so I don't know, but great. It was Hickey had some really cool photos that he did.
I just love the response to this thing. People absolutely love it, and it's one of those little accessories that it's like, why not? But people love it, so it's been a lot of fun.
Which reminds me, you can buy one of those mugs right at the T Public store. I ordered a Red Shadows T-shirt, but a little too late. They have to make it first and print it, and then it takes like over a week to ship out. I didn't have it in time for the show, but I'll wear it on a future one. But you got some cool stuff on both Skeletron.com, but especially the T Public store has a lot.
Yeah, the T Public opens up a little more feature or different products that we could get. So,
and the product quality is great too. I love their T Public's got the the vintage style shirts. Really nice shirts.
Cool. And then we got one more. Actually, before we'll just bring this guy on. He's begging to be on. He wants to hang out. Zen.
Hey! What's up, nerds?
What is up, Baldy?
So that's how I met Mark and Ben. I walked up to them at the airport and I said, "You guys look like a couple nerds going to Joe Fest." And
nailed it.
Their response to me was just, they could have been total jerks to me. Right? They were so nice. Like I totally mistook Mark for another friend of mine. And when I walked up and I said that, I was like, oh, wow, these aren't the guys I thought they were. And then it just happened to be, we were in the same row together on the flight to Augusta. And you guys got talking and really told me a lot about your story and everything with Skeletron. And I'll be honest, I'm one of the fans that I was into the lore and I knew about Action Force and the Red Shadows, but when you guys told me about it, I didn't know all about this campaign. And then I really got to see it, and you guys had one of the best booths at Joe Fest. and it was so much fun. And I mean, you could sell T-shirts with just the artwork alone, let alone the product. So I
Looking
just
good,
want
Trav.
to say, seeing it in person there, if anybody hasn't actually gotten to see this in person, it is so much freaking fun. It really is that hot ass side piece. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to get on and say congratulations real quick. And I do have a question. This may be something that that Travis has in line for later in the show, but
Please ask away. You're our other surprise guest.
listen, I want to get one. I did not back the Kickstarter. Will you guys be offering the? Will you guys be offering?
He answered it.
He did answer. I probably walked away to get
Later
my cocktail.
There's no more. You have to go on eBay and Macari, bro. Sorry.
No, that's awesome. So they are coming.
Yeah, you'll be once we complete fulfillment, which we're gonna have everything shipped out to those pre-order guys that haven't gotten them, that missed the Kickstarter but then pre-ordered after. So those are all gonna ship out next week, and then once those are in everybody's hands, then we will put them up for sale in stock. And that's the Robo Skull Mark II. So the SE, the special edition, was a crowdfund exclusive, and that one will not be available again at all. So, and that was a more limited production run. We did not overproduce that. So that is just whatever everybody backed. That's how many got made. And so that one, unfortunately, if you missed out on that one, you missed out on it. But the regular one's awesome. The Blood Wolf pilot's way cooler than the Weasel anyways, everybody knows, right, Mark?
Yeah, you want the Blood Wolf pilot, not the Weasel.
That's a dig on Mark Baldy because he's the face sculpt on the figure. It's his figure on the special edition. So
yeah, I mean, I was able to grab these guys
nice
at the show, which I
Me.
really think we're going to see a rebirth of 3.75. I think we're going to see a massive rebirth with that, and that might be kind of cool with classified slowing down and everything. But yeah, it's just, you guys did such a nice job with this.
Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate that. It was really fun meeting you too. Made our plane ride a lot of fun, and it was a good trip. And you weren't wrong when you ran into us. You did find a couple of nerds at the airport.
Just fellow nerds. That's all.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the O-ring thing is huge right now because Delta 17 has a whole lot, has a whole wave in, that's available now in stock. And then the Call Sign Lombo guys got their ghost figure out, which is super. This guy is so fun and
super good.
I love this. This shield is such a great thing. So it's an invisibility shield, and it it actually works. It's got those ridges that make it, make him invisible. It's so cool. And it reminds me, even though it's completely an original idea, it really does feel like a gimmick that would have come out in the 1980s. And everything about this figure, looks and feels just like a vintage 1980s O-ring figure. And I just love that about it. I love how much care these guys, Troy and John, have put into making this figure really authentic to the era, down to that bubble, on the card back and the way that the accessories rattle inside. It's just like what you felt when you were a kid.
Well, kind of echo what you're saying. What Call Sign is doing, what Delta 17, what you guys are doing, really feels like a true continuation of the original line, which I think Hasbro has missed the mark on. But what I kind of like is that you guys all support each other. You guys are realizing there's a lot of room out there in the yard, in the sandbox, to play together. It's not like, some of these other companies that bitch about the competition. You guys are all, hey, look at this. check this out. This feels like a cool continuation. So I really will say like that's pretty amazing that you guys do that and recognize it, because you guys are able to like that synergy is important. And
well, yeah, it's synergy, but it's also just a lot more fun. I mean, these are our friends. Like, we're all in this community together, and we're all helping each other out to make really cool products. So I don't know, the vast majority of this community is filled with really cool people. So and so the collaboration and the love and the just help supporting each other, it really comes, I think it comes easy for nearly everybody.
Yeah, and it shows. And you guys had so much fun at Joe Fest. I could see it. And like not just you guys, but the other teams that were there. So it was a lot of fun. So it was cool that you guys let me crash your plane ride and a little bit of the lobby talk. So that was a lot of fun. And Bob was a sweetheart. He told me the nicest story about his trip to Joe Fest with his son. They took that, I guess they drove from Atlanta, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they visited a whole bunch of REM sites. Were you guys familiar with this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was awesome. Bob shared that story, and I was like, am I the only one hearing this? This is awesome. So that was really cool. I didn't mean to crash this interview. I'm going to let you guys go. I got to work tomorrow, but as a fanboy, I just wanted to find out if I could get my hands on a Robo Skull.
Baldy, I gotta show you something. Who do you think I have in this Robo Skull right now?
Let's see. Earlier you had Red Skull, and now do you have the Terminator in there?
I had the Terminator, and I have someone new.
Please let it be Glenda. Destro.
Red Jackal. Without a shirt.
Basically, I had the Mezco Destro, but it's great.
Nice.
More on that later. We'll touch on that a little bit.
We're gonna get inside later. But Baldy, man, thanks for stopping by. You never know who's gonna show up on a toy kind of movie. We've had Gridiron Studios just magically show up one time, and now we got Baldy locked, and we'll probably see you next week as we talk about like our best ofs and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. KJ, I got that WD-40 for you. I'm going to send that over.
I can get some on Amazon,
glad you did.
man. All right. It's LA.
That's his Christmas gift. He's going to get a bottle of WD-40 from all of us.
I don't have money for WD-40. I need money for my $8,000 rent in LA. But anyway.
Hey, Ben, Mark, happy holidays and congratulations.
Nice job. You too. Good to see you again, man. Yeah. Thanks for dropping in.
Awesome. Look, so we got 7,000 questions. I'm not going to be able to get to them all. You know how I'm going to get to them. That's all I'm going to say. You know how I can get to them. But I will I will show this because everybody's asking about it and pointed it out. Guys, the biggest elephant in the room looks to be an official Red Shadows trooper figure that we got here. I'll go with you, Mark. What do you think of the design of this? Like, talk about the design first, and then thanks to Chris Scott and Ryan Sweeney for posting both of these card layouts. Sadly I didn't get the cards yet, but looks this is an awesome Easter egg to just do for the fans, man. This was awesome. And then talk about the design.
I'll be a little biased. I love the design. Spent a lot of time working on this one, so
no way.
This was a fun one to work. This is a Red Shadows Assault Trooper, right? We thought it would be really fun for a reveal to throw it onto the back of our trading card set that went out with to Kickstarter backers. I should clarify, Kickstarter backers that hit a certain threshold on their spend. But one thing, just wanted to make sure this guy was the coolest figure that, trooper wise. This guy's fully loaded. He's got rifle, he's got the bazooka, his rocket launchers on his back. Man, I love it.
Mm-hmm. Ben?
like Mark said, Mark spent Mark this one's kind of Mark's baby. I'll say this, Mark has been really interested in doing something again, really heavily inspired by what's come in the past, but to do something new that's modernized and but harkens back and homages to the old figures without but being different.
I guess this answers Chaz's question. You have the rights to Red Shadow's figure designs.
Well, we have rights to the red. So technically, we have the rights to the name Red Shadows, and so we're doing a lot of new designs. We're doing things that are obviously inspired by all kinds of things from the past. So that's where things sit with us right now.
Mm-hmm. And so those 3 comments I just put up, they just answered all of them in one swoop. So there you got on that. KJ, comment about this design on the card back and what you thought of doing the tees.
I think Skeletron's designs have been top notch so far. I'm excited to see what they do with the lineage of the Red Shadows Trooper from Battle Action Force and onward. It's great that Fresh Monkey Fiction has their own take on it with the alternate head sculpts. There are other companies doing similarly named shadow figures. I'm more interested in this. I think this is the more legit claim to Palatoy Action Force, so I'm excited for it. And I can't wait to put this sucker inside of that Robo Skull, man. I'm salivating. This shouldn't make me salivate, but I am.
Yeah. And I want to comment on Chaz's comment. Don't be a you-know-what, Trav. Get to the questions. Hey, we got rent to pay. That's all I'm going to say. I'm kidding. That's not how we pay rent. But you guys know the drill. But yeah, this was absolutely terrific there and awesome. And then obviously this KJ already asked you about like the prints and stuff. I think I saw a question about that comment here. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's telling you what to do. Do a poster with a blueprint of the Robo Skull. Just do it now.
Well, did you guys see? I mean, did we see the poster of the blueprint poster that came inside the Robo Skull already?
Woo!
Yeah. So we did do one of those already, and it's pretty. I think it's a pretty kick-ass poster myself.
I wouldn't mind getting that on a shirt. I know we have the TeePublic. We have it scrolling tpublic.com/user/Skeletron. Great sale going on. $16 shirts. Red Shadows, Skeletron, Robo Skull concept art. Just keep it rocking, man. We are here. We're here in these streets.
All right, man. We got to KJ. I appreciate you hitting that, and that means we just got to get on that. Get some prints loaded up. Get some things for you to check out.
More merch.
Cool.
Merchandising.
I'll take pencils. I'll take mugs. I'll take tampons. I don't care. We got to get this stuff going.
Taking notes.
Tampon.
There's a joke in there, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, Red Shadows. All right, let's move from Red Shadows to Ghost Flames. This was another collaboration. We talked about Troy and our call sign Longbow, and man, oh man, this was obviously the cover art of our episode this week. I had to because it was a nice surprise. You guys are full of surprises, so just talk about obviously working along with Troy. I got to catch up with him and meet him at Joe Fest. That was really cool. And are there any other collaborations within the Robo Skull, besides the O-rings and stuff with Troy, from in Grindstone, call sign Longbow?
Well, I think, as far as the collaboration goes, they kind of dip in and out through the process because we're communicating with those guys a lot. So for this one, we knew we wanted to have that a decal sheet, a glow in the dark sheet that went with the Robo Glow eyes, and we were just talking about what I just threw out the question, like, what could we do to make this even make something super badass that's just beyond kind of a fun sticker sheet and a few different decals. And so this was Troy's idea. Troy came back with like, what if we did this? And I was sold immediately. And Mark, I don't remember if you remember how you felt first when he came back with this, but I know I was like, hell yeah. That's how I remember reacting to the idea.
Yeah, I'm sure it's similar.
Yeah. and we did a couple revisions, but really, Troy just knocked it out of the park. His idea, his execution, and really appreciate his contribution on this one. So, but there's a lot, there's so many things that went into the Robo Skull that are like that, where someone probably has a memory of their like a specific facet or a specific piece of the Robo Skull that they had an idea and then ended up becoming part of the project. And some of those inception points I think are lost over time. It's kind of interesting when we go back and ask guys like Ron Rudat and Kirk Bazigian, like, oh, tell me about when you did something. And I don't know how those guys remember anything, because this stuff is it's just there's a lot happening, and a lot of ideas get thrown around, and then they all sort of coalesce, and we agree that it's that this is the way to go, and we move forward. But I love coming back to those Ghost Flames. I love the Ghost Flames so much, and I'm really excited to get. We've got one stickered up here, but I don't have it back here. I need to have a Ghost Flame on display, and I love the fact that the glow in the dark decals are also like white, just pure white. So when the lights are on, I think the deco looks awesome, even when the lights are on too, and they're not glowing.
Nice. I think that's how I'm going to do once I get it back from KJ, if ever. Now that he's, I don't know.
No, you'll get it back. You'll get it back. I know the backer kits are going to be later, probably after Christmas, but it's fine.
No, they're shipping this week, right?
From Utah. That's right.
I saw a comment that we're getting the backer kit stuff soon, right?
Yeah, the Canadians the Canadians are out in front of the pre-orders by a little bit, because we got those. We broke loose those Canadian orders, so those are coming. End of this week. We'll start shipping, and then we'll start shipping everybody else by Monday. So we'll commence, and we'll see how long it takes to get. It'll probably take a few days to get everything, to get all those Robo Skulls shipped out, but they'll be all unleashed next week.
Awesome. Also feeling the glow was Marauder Ed, and man, he kills it with images. I had to give a shout to him.
That's this one here.
Eddie, yeah, you're feeling the glow.
Yeah. And Eddie American is so incredibly talented and so good at everything. I mean, everything he does, I just love his work so much. And he is, if either of you guys ever met Eddie before?
Not sure. I don't think so. No.
Not I.
He is you cannot find a nicer guy than Eddie. He is the most humble, decent, great guy you will ever meet. He's just the best of us.
Ben's not exaggerating. Eddie's the best.
All right.
Awesome. Love it. This felt like a real good community stream for everybody too, so that's what I love about this. We're just keeping it all tight, but I think, and there's another look at that. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, so these are some Marauder figures. Marauder did a geared up event where he put together some, made some combinations and stuff to complement your Robo Skull, which was a super fun idea.
All right, I think it's time to go beneath the skin of the actual Robo Skull. I know we're going a lot later than I probably wanted to, but things happen. People show up, people play with toys, people leave crazy questions. Kidding, KJ, kidding. Hey, we're supposed to play with toys. That's the point. We're supposed to play with toys. So
play with your toys.
You have my blessing on that. But right away, we got to talk about this. In the review, I was like, yeah, it's from the driver's perspective, which didn't bother me at all, but it could have been a little confusing. What do you guys think? Got to put you on the spot.
Yeah, clearly that was one of those things where in hindsight, that's why we added this, an indicator, so that, to make it more clear how you do it. So we have the instructions, the operating, our operations manual that it was included. And
which is awesome, by the way. It was the first thing I had to talk about. Usually I don't cover boxes, I don't cover instructions, but this was something new. I mean, just the art in it was cool, and you guys went so detailed. It was so dense, and it really helped,
Awesome, man. I'm glad you liked it. So there's a guy by the name of Gary Gorzak who's become a good friend of ours, worked on a bunch of cool stuff, done some awesome graphics. he really put together this operations manual. He's the guy that like put together our mailer box and has done some other work for us as well. So he goes by Gary G, and he works a lot. He does a lot of stuff. He's working with Ace over at Ramen, doing their packaging, and has worked for a lot of the done different things for some of the the major toy companies as well. But he was a backer, super huge supporter of ours, and then turned out where I ran into his stuff. Funny story, he actually reached out to me during the Kickstarter and to ask if we needed help with anything. And I was so crazed during the Kickstarter that I was just like, oh yeah, thanks. I never even looked at his stuff. And then later I ran into some of his work and I reached out to him and he was like, dude, I literally DM'd you during the Kickstarter and said I wanted to work with you guys. So that was a really kind of serendipitous that we had both independently found each other's work and wanted to work together. So that was really cool. And he's a great guy. He came to Joe Fest with us. He hung out at Assembly Required. So shout out to Gary G.
That's what's up, KJ.
We've already had people in the chat who missed out on this. They've seen the error of their ways, so they're asking. You've answered about getting the classic Robo Skull SE. It is what it is. But is there a chance of getting more restocks for the stands? I didn't get the Elite stand.
Yeah, definitely. Stand, yes. So the stand will be back in stock as soon as we deliver all those pre-orders. The stand will be back in stock. The Elite Flight stand will be in stock, as well as the Mark II. So yeah, definitely pick up the flight stand and the Mark II. And then of course we've got that the Robo Knight heavy metal armor.
So
that
dope.
Is not out yet.
So dope. Oh man. Okay.
That's another one of Mark's brainchilds, the Robo Knight face mask.
You guys were on one for real, man. You guys are like the Snoop and Dre of action figure manufacturing.
I think you just paid us one of the highest compliments I think I've received on this.
I know. Yeah,
that's a bit much. I appreciate it, but that's a bit much.
Yeah,
well, that's awesome.
I mean, they got an album coming out too, just like the Robo Skull. So that's
exactly. Cool. I'm gonna get their drink instead of gin and juice. It's gonna be Robo and Skull.
Real sick. And then here's another look. Shout out to Fixer. This was his image. Our old homie Fixer. Yeah, he posted these stands. He got some of them early. Makes me wish I got two. I see that comment a lot because you buy every accessory and then you're like, oh, I actually have two Robo Skulls, but I have one stand. So yeah, that kind of thing. And then
Fixer
was
the
Dreadnought Ryan.
All in. Sorry about that, Travis.
No, you're good. What was it?
Fixer made out like a bandit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Went all in, and yeah.
And shout out to Fixer. He's been such a huge supporter of us since like pre-kicks, teaser time. He's been all in on this, so appreciate all his support.
Yeah, I like this shot too because it shows the bonus accessories that came with the blast effects there.
Yeah, and this is from Ryan, Dreadnought Ryan, that our homie too, right there. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that was just something we threw in, and we have this idea that people will like, when they get something, in this age of pre-orders, that it's cool to get something and you open it up and then there's something more than what you were expecting. So that was the idea is, we're not trying to be, too sneaky, but we want to add a little bit of something extra when you get that box and you open it up. And then, so in this box, there was those bonus blast effects that we just hadn't talked about, hadn't announced on any level. So
right on the eyes for the cover.
So great.
Yeah.
That's great.
A lot of bonus Easter eggs and all that. That's a lot of fun. So that's cool stuff. There was some stuff, KJ, if you want to talk about it with the cockpit stuff.
All right. So like right here, you guys really did something revolutionary where this can sit 6-inch figures, but it can also sit 4-inch figures, which I think is a real game changer. And it's really, it really has opened up. Like I wouldn't be collecting 118 if not for you guys doing that. Like those 118 figures I ordered from you all are some of the first 118 figures I ever ordered. And then. And that led to me going back and getting modern 4-inch, but that wasn't enough. So that led to me getting O-rings, and that led to me getting Delta 17 and getting 4-inch in 375 and whatnot, just for this. Because of those decisions, it totally opened up my collecting. So with that same thinking, we can go all the way back to where that Eureka light bulb went. What was it that said, hey, we can do both here?
So
we can do this, we can do that. We can go NTSC, we can go PAL, we can go 6-inch, we can go 375. So what sparked that? And what does that mean for any other Palitoy vehicles that may or may not go towards Skeletron's way?
Yeah, sure. So I think the Eureka moment for me was this really, at first it was really a practical thing, knowing who my friends are in the community. And I've got friends who only collect O-ring, and I've got friends who only collect 4-inch, and I've got friends who are only 6-inch guys. And if you think about where this was before we launched the Kickstarter, we're looking at this thing and I'm wondering like, how niche is this? Like, who's going to really actually be interested in it? You don't know. And so the idea was, how do I get all of my collector friends to want to pick this up? And so that's where I came up with the idea of doing the swappable seats. And it ended up being, a huge thing, not only for the utility of it. And by the way, we actually filed a patent and were recently awarded a utility patent on the concept. So that was, so that's pretty cool. But it actually ended up being like that thought and doing that ended up expanding our Kickstarter a lot too, because not just from people who are interested in the Robo Skull, but then it was like, oh, well, what if we want to do 6? We want to do a 6. We want to support this, right? We want to do more than just, hey, throw your figure in there. How do we support this with a line of 6-inch and a line of 4-inch? And then the O-ring, to take it to the O-ring level, 3.75. I mean, that was just a conversation. I called up Troy one night after I'd had a few IPAs, and we started chatting, and I was like, hey, what if we did it as like a stretch goal? Like, would that be cool, or would that steal your thunder? Or like, how would you feel about that if we, because he was already working on longbow. So we were working on longbow, but ours was going to go, Robo Skull was going first. And he loved the idea and said, yeah, let's get a let's put it in as a stretch goal for the Robo Skull. So he loved it immediately. And then John Kukovic and Troy just knocked it out of the park with a really just badass O-ring design for the project. And there it was. So that's how that came to be.
Cool.
Genius.
KJ, you want to hold your? I know you've been playing with it all night. Let's show it.
Hey, that's fine. I'll wash it off.
They came out way wrong. They came out way wrong. But and now we're even going to go even deeper. Open up the cock. Did you ever pit?
Yeah, I got a fun little sketch. Oh, maybe you can't see it.
Here we go.
Yeah, let's see.
I can't take it off. I got a fun little sketch though that showed.
You're gonna have to take your cool background off, I think.
I'll take my background off because it shows ultimately what where that kind of all started, right? Let's see. We'll take off my background. All right. We'll be all boring. Okay. So yeah. So this.
Okay. Yeah. You can see it. Yeah.
Right there. So you can see where this was the first kind of concept when we were talking about it, and then we were just drafting out how we could potentially fit things in a chassis. And so just just one of the very early sketches.
Wow. That's
great.
Cool.
Mark spent a lot of time on this cockpit. So you guys got cockpit questions? Mark is your cockpit design man.
I said it in the review. Did you think about raising it higher? Because especially some of the figures, then I realized you could just take the whole thing out anyway. I mean, and then put the figure in and then put them in. But I don't know. It's at this angle, so sometimes the figure might fall off or it won't hold the handle all the way. But that's just me. I suck at playing with toys. You know what I mean?
So yeah, so
Oh.
the whole concept was we did want those seats removable. We wanted you to be able to put the figure in first. You know, it gets kind of fumbly when you're trying to get in there. So you get your hands on the handlebar, and then you can set the whole seat in there. We experimented with a lot of different sizes. The ball tip joints. That's something that I pulled
like
from.
On this?
Yeah.
There?
Yep.
That's freaking awesome. I absolutely love that. That's
so
amazing.
The GI Joe Cobra mech suit. I forget the name of it right now. What was it? That wasn't a Devastator. No, what was that thing?
The Accelerator. That was the Rise of Cobra mech suit.
No, the big one. The big one.
The one that had the big ball on it that would like shoot off and whatever. Anyways, that had the ball joints on its handles, and I really like that. And so that was one area that I pulled inspiration from for that.
Was it the snake, the one that the gridiron's doing with the plate?
No.
Okay.
It was the Joe one.
It was like remember the Pursuit of you guys. There was the Pursuit of Cobra era, the 4-inch. It held the 4-inch, held the 4-inch figures. They did it for Pursuit of Cobra.
Yeah, there it is. The Deviant. Yeah.
Thank you, 46. Cool. Very cool. But that was an inspiration, basically.
100%. Yep.
Cobra Deviant. Got it. Very cool. I gotta ask, inside the cockpit, what was that like alien type language that we had in there? Like, and it's all over the ship. There's all kind of like different, any kind of that coding language. I know Ben's got a big smile.
Yeah, that's Mark.
What's that?
What's the language on the all over the thing
there?
It's straight Russian.
Is it really?
It's straight Russian.
No.
Yeah.
That's keeping with like this Cobra Soviet bloc. So like that's the
okay.
Yeah. I mean, fun fact. Yeah. I mean, we like the idea that somehow the Soviets were involved in this, and I have fun fact. My wife's from Belarus, and so I have plenty of Russian knowledge and access to it. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, Mark actually speaks Russian, guys. So, and his kids speak Russian. So they're like the Americans, you know?
Well, I apologize for Moscow getting blown up in G.I. Joe Resolute. That wasn't cool.
I think Mark's fine with it.
Hey, Travis, I'm sending you a link to the Deviant. This looks pretty dope.
Cool. Or you could just pull it up on the present mode, right?
Okay, yeah.
While you do that, there's a comment about that. The Gary goggles that we got right there. That was a nod to the Guy Wolf inside the pit here.
Yeah, so that was something I wanted to put in, and that got sculpted in long before we decided to do the Gyre Wolf figure. So that was my first, so this was my first kind of nod to Gary, and then the Gyre Wolf character came later. So just wanted to put that in there.
Yeah. And then you want to speak on this anyway, the Guy Wolf and what Gary goggles meant to you guys. Yeah.
So in Mark unfortunately didn't get a chance to meet Gary because he passed away before I sucked Mark into the vortex of coming down to Assembly Required. But I met Gary at my first G.I. Joe show. It was at Assembly Required 1 down in Iowa. And I went down there and I didn't know anybody in the community at all. I'd heard about it off of His Tank. So this is like 14 years ago. And I met Gary. I met guys like Steve Kelting and Brian Sauer down there. I met guys who became instantly, met them within 5 minutes of walking in the door, 2 minutes of walking in the door. And these guys became lifelong friends of mine. And Gary Goggles he was a ringleader, he was guy was crazy. I don't know if you guys ever hung out with him, but he was he was a character, in a lot of different ways, and he could be great and he could be a total jerk, and he was just a really unique, awesome, special kind of guy. So when we lost him, it was it really hit the community, me personally, really hard. and a lot of people. He had a lot of good friends in the community. He was the guy that, he would get the prototypes before anybody. He was an insider's insider. He had all the knowledge. Going back to you guys showing those 6, I'm gonna get off on a tangent here, but when you guys were showing those 6-inch leaks, we don't see a lot of classified leaks like we used to back in 2010 when like Pursuit of Cobra was coming out, and prior to that with the 25th anniversary 4-inch line. But Gary would get everything. He had contacts in China. He had contacts inside Hasbro. He had contacts. He tracked he tracked down. So like Bill Merkline, who's the sculptor that's working with Carson Metaxas on Operation Recall. That Bill was like off the grid. Nobody knew who he was. Gary Goggles Head tracked him down and found him, and like went to his house, and like and ended up being a really close friend of Bill Merkline too. And that's how I got introduced to Bill. But so anyways, Gary was he was as deep into G.I. Joe as you can get. And he took me down the dark path of, pre-production, prototype collecting and all that kind of thing. And he was the guy that really sucked me in probably more than anybody. So I really, so I know Hasbro honored him with an action with the G.I. Joe figure sight line, that they announced that was part of that big set, which is so cool. I still, got to give a shout out to Mark Weber and Daryl DePriest for what they did there. It was such a cool thing to do. But even despite that, like, I just really felt like I wanted to do something more to kind of honor Gary. And the other thing with the creation of the Gyrowolf character is that all of the proceeds from the sale of that go back to Gary's family too. So it's something we've been able to do.
That's great.
That they're real supportive of. We've been able to help them out, help his kids out and everything. So that's, so we feel good about that as well. And it's a cool project. The super shiny metal on the Gyrowolf character comes from Gary's propensity to wear like crazy glittery metallic jackets. And he really did have those goggles on his head at all times. He was a larger than life guy.
Awesome. That's really cool. There's actually, just kind of going off the subject here, but there was some follow-up to the Russian here. Didn't the vintage Red Shadows use Russian on the vehicles? And then this one says, wasn't the lettering used in Palatoy? The Black Major had a code book with the Belarusian letters on that mark.
Yeah, so they absolutely used the Cyrillic alphabet. And if you talked with Bob Brechin, that was something that he definitely he put out the Cyrillic letters. So some of it though was gobbledygook. And then eventually they did have some. They had a decoder as well, so it was a cipher. So
awesome. I'm gonna play catch up with a few of the questions we got here that based on stuff we just talked about, just didn't get to it. The figure 6-pack. What up, man? Thanks for always checking out Toy Kind of Mood, by the way. Skeletron question: will there be additional custom faceplates in the works for the Robo Skull? We showed off the heavy armor one, but any other thoughts?
Mark, you want to take that one?
Nothing currently. Right now, I mean, I shouldn't say that. I mean, we've had discussions, but right now we're just focused on the main heavy metal armor. So nothing concrete on that in the future.
Yeah, especially considering that, we thought that was going to be a pretty straightforward part to get produced by all accounts, and it takes a massive couple chunks of steel to do it. And we actually had to trash the mold and start fresh on that one to get that done. So it's looking good now. We're in good shape now, but that's part of the reason why we originally thought it would come out at the same time. Is we really wanted it to ship with the flight stand because obviously from our perspective, we want to put as many things as possible into one box and ship them to you guys, because shipping just the Jungle Wolf Trooper and then just shipping the flight stand hasn't been great for us from a shipping cost perspective, as you can imagine. But we're gonna do, you know, we're gonna do everything right by the fans. So when we have product ready, we're gonna ship it.
Got it. Cool. I'll just go down the line here. This kind of segues into the next topic anyway. So will the Skeletron figures always fit both 118 and 112, or you guys switch up sometimes depending on what it is? I think he meant the Skeletron vehicles fitting 18, right?
Yeah.
118. It's amazing. Obviously, I was just gonna say that's one of the better ideas, obviously, was just being able to appeal to both scales for both business and creative reasons. But do you think in the future your vehicles will always do 118 and 112, or is this just a one-time shot?
I think it's a really good question. I would say we don't want to limit ourselves and say like, hey, we have like we're put ourselves in this box where anything we do has to be both. At the same time, it's been a really cool thing that now we're known for with the Robo Skull. So if the opportunity arises for us to do that, I think we're definitely, or I know Mark and I are both really interested in where we can take that further in the future.
And then I think I'll let KJ play with his toy one more time as we show up this question. Ben and Mark, what's your favorite wing position for the Roboskull? X attack, interceptor, or standard? I don't know if he's able to showcase, but do you have a favorite wing configuration here?
Love the question. So Mark and I both love the X attack, right, Mark?
Yep.
But the thing is, I like the landing gear tucked in the back. So right now and Mark likes it flared. So that's kind of our own little take on how we do it. So that's Mark's favorite pose right there.
We do love how it ratchets and snaps. That's one of the cooler things too. Feels like a toy.
Yeah,
that's how toys should feel.
We had a lot of, it's funny because we had a lot of conversations about that, and with those ratcheting things, the idea was ultimately that if it was just a free swing, you would never, with that many points of articulation, you would never be able to it'd be a pain in the butt to get the symmetry that you wanted to try to line everything up. And that's why we ended up with the ratcheting, was to try to make it so, it would be fast to like put it into that perfectly symmetrical different configurations. And that's a configuration we weren't even planning on at the beginning, what you just showed there. So
yeah,
that's the one. That's the one I got right for now.
Exterminate old Joes. Exterminate.
I can watch you guys play with that all day. I love it.
Awesome. Cool. And then
this is more fun than what I usually play with at this time of night. So this is great.
All right. Oh man, this show has gotten dark.
No, I meant this.
Speaking of your darkest troopers, we have the actual Skeletron figure coming in 1/6 scale. And look, a toy kind of mood, we kind of sway to the 112 scale. 6-inch. More than 118. I know it's still a diehard modern fan base and O-rings and stuff, but we tend to, we do classified Marvel Legends. That's what kind of mostly what we do here. So these obviously I'm thrilled to get my hands. I'll do, probably a ranking of all of them and stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. But what's the update on these? When are we seeing these things?
Yeah, that's a great question. Everybody we want to know. We wish we could tell you the exact date, Travis. So we're working closely with the factory. We've got test shots out of the 6-inch Wolf Trooper, along with this pilot kit. So that's all been tooled, and so we're in the revision process right now, just getting those things refined. So all of these figures are close, I would say, to going into production, but what you don't know is when that final adjustment is done right and you're really ready to go to hit production on those. So we still are in the revision process for everything, except the Skeletron, which is in tooling. So we've only seen a few. We haven't seen a complete tooled Skeletron yet. We're still awaiting some of those components for the Skeletron. So that's still in tooling, but the rest of the 6-inch, we have test shots of everything. And we're hopeful that it'll be soon. But what we found is that, and you guys know this if you're following along, is that our projections have been really bad. So we've been given a projection from our factory, and we share that information, and then it ends up taking longer than what we thought. And so that's just been a really common theme throughout this Kickstarter. You know, we were able to get out the Assassin Skeledrones early, and then which got us off to feeling really good at the start. And then everything since is all the figures and the Robo Skull have come out after our projected estimated date. So it's been a long journey, and we really appreciate, everyone that's been, and almost everyone's been so incredibly gracious about the timing of the product. And I can't thank them enough for that.
Right. Cool.
Here's an example though, if you want to zoom in. So here's here's Gyre Wolf.
Nice.
Trying to do this, but he's given the old thumbs up here from a seat. So that's our first shot on him.
Wow.
I think first, maybe second.
There we go. You said we wouldn't get any exclusives, and then we just got one. Nice tease. Love it. I think this would be a fun question for Mark from Ed Hellman. We got a Mark likeness on Blood Weasel. Is Ben a likeness in Wave 2?
Ooh, good question.
See that one right there? There's a tease there.
I think it needs to be, but we'll see. We'll see when the old Ben mug shows up.
That I've been asked that a few times. I think the answer is I'm a little hesitant because, well, Travis, you met some of my friends at Joe Fest. Like, I don't know what they might do with a 1/18 scale or 1/12 scale version.
Yeah. That's a scary thought for
it
sure.
Is. It really is.
Just a few beers. You're just gonna find it in some hanging from a tree at Joe Fest in the hotel. Yeah, you don't want to.
I can think of worse things that they could probably do.
Yeah,
that they would do. So we'll
stripped. But yeah, that's a good question, Ed. I don't know if he's still watching. Sorry, some of these things were like asked when they first showed up, and I'm like, we gotta save this stuff. What else we got? We got some more. Here we go. Chaz, can we expect to see some new 6-figure designs soon? It's a good question. Figure design.
Yeah, it is a really good question, and we are working on some things, but we've really been wanting to just demonstrate to everybody that backed the Kickstarter that we're really focused on getting that product out. And despite that, we did just do that reveal with the trading card. So that will be a 6-inch figure that it is coming. So that's something that we did decide we could kind of tip our hand a little bit on that. But it'll probably be a while. What do you think, Mark? Probably be a while before we show anything else, don't you think?
Yeah, a little bit.
I like how he looked. I like how he looked up. He looked up like the Brady Bunch. That was cool. Speaking of designs, thanks for designing weapons and I think he meant not just giving us the usual M16s, AKs, and scars. It gets boring. So like making creative design weapons, he's saying, I think.
Awesome, man. I'm glad you like those. And that's something that that comes back again. Troy did a lot of the design work on that, and Mark worked closely with Troy on a lot of those weapons. Some of those weapons, like that jetpack and those claws, those were whipped out during the Kickstarter. Like when we were trying to create, when the Kickstarter blew up, we were like, what do we got? Let's throw some cool stuff together, and Troy really just knocked it out of the park with some concepts. And I'm really happy with how all that turned out.
Yeah, they're futuristic, but they don't look like the cheesy Operation Blackout Nerf stuff that we got like early in Classified. Of course, they course corrected and did a much better job with that. And then we always have Gridiron and Marauders anyway, right? But I think the weapons look really sharp. They're futuristic but fun and still look dangerous.
Yeah, we want to hit that. I think we all kind of like, or Mark and I both really like the present day, but not really, like one step into the future, right? Mm-hmm. That was which is something that GI Joe gave us, right? You had laser guys right out of the gate, and so we want some of that future tech, but still something that looks like, oh, it's not, it's not way out in outer space. It's maybe just a little bit out in outer space.
Mm-hmm. And we got two more questions relating to this image. So he says he's got his mini Mark on the shelf. Of course, that's the modern day Mark Weasel, right? So the big question for me is if I use the Mark head from the 6-inch pilot pack to customize a Captain America. I'd apologize for the inside joke, but I'm not sorry, says Winterstar.
Yeah, that would actually work.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, for those who don't know, I double as a Captain America in our company's 4th of July parade. So yeah, that would work.
That's cool.
That is freaking awesome. That's a great reveal in itself right there.
Yeah.
And then another cool one is Selena says, are we going to get more Skeletron personnel head sculpts? And I know for sure KJ wants his buddy Corey's head sculpt.
Oh, that's great. I gotta screenshot that for Corey.
Like, you don't have to make a Dr. Mindbender, but you need was like a Professor Cranium or something like that, or Commander Cranium or something like that. Like, that one's for free. You can just have that one.
Let's use that one.
We'll definitely pass that along to Corey, KJ, for sure.
Okay,
so,
that's awesome.
I'd love to see Corey as a figure, but we've also been told we're kind of heavy on bald guys right now. So I don't know. We got to do some other. We might have to put some new looks in before we come back to Corey.
That's a great point. And then here's just a comment. He can't wait for the Weasel, Mark's Weasel figure to go against the Wow Weasel from Hasbro and the Rattler. So that'll be then the poses we're gonna get.
Battle of the Weasels.
Yeah. Battle of the Weasels. Love it for sure. That's fun.
World War Weasel. That's what that is.
That's a good one. All right. And then we said hopefully he's still around. We said we were gonna shout out David. He showcased this in the Skeletron Secret Lab, but the fact that he can fit in the Super 7 Ultimates Red Jackal. And then we got a picture of this man, Mythic Legion's Helvicus in the cockpit. So getting some interesting stuff in there, as KJ showed with the Terminator earlier.
Yeah, you got to get it in there, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love those. There's a lot of Mythic Legions will fit in there. There's a lot that don't quite want to make it. So a cheat you guys can do if you get a really chunky guy is I've just pulled the seat out and dropped a big dude right in there, and then you can still kind of see him through the cockpit if you need to get a really big guy in there. But yeah, that 6-inch seat works pretty well for some oversized figures as well.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys happen to see Kevin Watts had posted? He's Crimson Guard Immoral on Instagram, and he had done some great photos of things that don't fit into the Robo Skull. And he's like, cow does not fit. And he had 2 aliens trying to stuff a cow into the cockpit. And then he had 5 slices of bread don't fit in, but he actually fit the 5 slices into the cockpit, and then it wouldn't close. But he's a funny guy. Shout out to Kevin.
Nice. You did finally we finally got an explanation with those 3 adapters where in my review I had no idea. I was scared to like put them anywhere and get them stuck, having it so early and not really seeing what really happened. But you want to talk about the whole Diaclone situation, Ben?
Yeah. So and Mark can jump in on this too, because the first time Mark joined me at Assembly Required, we were down there with a couple of my buddies, Nick Vreeland and Locke Bisping, who were really kind of heavy into this Diaclone at the time. And Mark had never been to one of these shows, and he went ballistic. He was just bananas over this Diaclone stuff, because so Mark was just eating it up, and he was up way past his bedtime, hanging out with these guys, playing with this Diaclone, and from there, there's always just been jokes in our little friend group about, it's 1/18 scale, 1/12 scale, but what about 1/60th scale? Diaclone world. And I knew so part of it was just to kind of run with that joke of like, we got to figure out how to make, I wanted to figure out how to make Diaclone work with this product. So that was something we just kind of threw in as a fun little thing early on in the process. And then Mark even took it further from there for some fun play value.
Yeah. Are there plans for Roboskull Mark III?
Just one at a time, KJ. Just one at a time.
All right. So,
I'll say this: we really want to see how, like, obviously our Kickstarter has been great. The pre-orders were through the moon. So if if our inventory, if that ends up being a successful product when we go in stock, then who knows where this might go next.
Yeah. I'm waiting on that 12-inch Skeletron figure. That's when I'm okay. Never mind. I'll stop.
So Travis, you want to pull up that image back up there though with that Diaclone eye. So it started off where I was like, it'd be super cool to put the Diaclone right in the eye socket, and then later during the development process, Mark was 3D modeling away and playing with stuff. And Mark, you want to talk about the picture on the left?
Yeah, as I was doing that, I had the idea to basically take the Roboglow eye, and I was sculpting the blast effect, and I was like, well, what would happen if we put it on the end of that? And it just took off from there, and we're like, that looks incredible. So a new feature was born.
Yeah, so the new feature being that the blast effect that was originally just intended for the wings, the wing cannons, goes into the eye, and then you can put a Diaclone Waruder pod on the end of it, or the Roboglow eye also fits on the tip of the blast effect, and it just gives a really badass shooting eye effect. So that was something.
That's great.
And Patrick says the 5mm ports on the Roboskull excite me most. It's a huge opening for official Transformers and third-party upgrade kits. So a lot of people excited about this.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Patrick, because we've had some fun. So like you can even go the other way too, where we've done like crazy, like giant blast effects for from our product can go onto a Transformer as well. So it goes both ways, and you can have a lot of fun with it.
That's great. Travis, can we solo in on Ben real quick? Is that cool?
Yeah, show them that. Yeah.
Yeah, so here's just I don't even know what Optimus Prime this is, but this was actually one that we use this as a test. So we used some other toy lines to test the port sizes, and this was one of those tests that I ran just to make sure that that these were going to fit the way we wanted to maximize play value and let people get creative and start to mix and match blast effects from different toy lines.
That's awesome, man. Because we got the Transformers blast effects. They would look vicious in this Roboskull for real.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of so just think about it. Yeah, you just go find another, like, here's another Transformer blast effect, came with a jet fire. And that, you can pop that, this will pop in on a Roboskull. So a lot of mixing and matching and have more fun with it. Get wild
That's
with
great,
it.
Man. That's great. You put them on the ends of Skeletrons, man.
Yep.
I guess this answers this. Do you know of any blast effects that fit in the bottom right here? Here you go.
Yeah. Ours.
Yeah. So that's the blast effect from the flight stand that Mark's got there.
Nice. Scott asks, are we getting extra hands with the 6-inch figures?
Ooh. Well, Mark, what do you say about that?
I'm gonna say
thumbs up.
Yeah.
Very cool. Look at that. So thanks, Scott.
Yeah, great question. So we are going to be packing in some extra hands. That's one of the things that are going to be extra that wasn't part of the Kickstarter that we've just that we're just upgrading for people as a thank you for the for the wait and their patience as we finish off these figures.
And we have a nice comment here. Oh, I did have it. Uh-oh, it went away. Oh, here we go. Hit Figures, what's up, man? Just want to add the sentiment for the 1,000th time. The positivity from Mark and Ben and how it's filtered down to the way to the fans have reacted to the project is one hell of an amazing thing.
That's awesome.
Thanks, man. Thank you. We're here. I mean, we should, the positivity thing, man. It should be like we're all here to have fun. Like that's why I'm here. What do you guys? So
I'm here to leave angry comments in YouTube videos and talk people out of playing with toys. I'm kidding. I'm like here for the opposite of that, obviously. Okay, now I gotta put Samus in the Robo Skull to make up.
Yeah, you do.
I pointed out on Instagram that Transformers had skeleton fossil characters that break apart into armor for a bone.
Oh, dude, that's awesome that you mentioned that too again, because two of my nephews are hardcore into Transformers, and I'll have to post it up in the secret library on Facebook. But the first thing he wanted to do is he had some bone. I don't follow the Transformers, but he had some bone Transformer guy that he popped right into the cockpit to fly around the Robo Skull.
Nice. All right. What we got going on here? He's working on Samus. There we go.
Cool.
That looks great. Colors look
I'm
great.
I'm having a ball.
Popping.
This has to be one of my favorite episodes of Toy Kind of Mood of all time. This is
wow. Thank you.
Thank you. This is great. Let's see if I can get it closed. You can see her through the cockpit here.
All right, let's talk about we got you a half hour over past where I wanted. So
sorry about that.
Now, right? It's all because of AJ playing with a toy. How dare he play with a toy? That's mine. I'm kidding. Look, we got so many questions about are there going to be more variants of the Robo Skull? New vehicles. Obviously, you're not going to reveal anything, but at least we could talk about, are they Red Shadows, Action Force remake, stuff like that. Look, every question ever is like, what's next? When can we get an official announcement? You're not going to do it here, but when? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I love that people are dying to know what's next. I think that I don't have a good answer. Like we'll announce it when we're ready, I guess, is the answer. And we do like to keep things, like we like to be a little mysterious and kind of drop surprise things. I think that there's so much pre-order that's happening right now where everybody's kind of moved to that pre-order model, and we're part of that too, right? We launched a Kickstarter to launch our company. But in the future, we want to have, I think that we're hoping to do a few more things that are a little bit more like, a surprise, like here it is, and it's ready to go. So I guess that's a reveal a little bit of maybe what our intentions are down the road for how we might want to do, things, at some point. But what I can tell you with certainty is that the fans that launched this product into the stratosphere and the Kickstarter have truly launched our company. And based on the fan reaction to what we're doing and the demand for the products, Mark and I and our team are going to absolutely continue to make cool product. And we're going to do it at a pace that is whatever the pace is for us that allows us to continue to make product at the same, I guess, thoughtfulness and quality level of the products that we've already, brought out, like the Robo Skull. So what exactly that looks like and the timing and that kind of thing, I'm not really driven, other than the schedule right now for us is to get the Kickstarter, fully fulfilled. We feel that pressure every day. And then from there, we're gonna put out great product at the pace that it requires in order for us to feel like we're continuing to meet and exceed customer expectations. And so what that looks like, Well, I can't wait to find out.
Awesome. That would be a perfect way to close out, but there's still like a couple things I want to chat with you, Ben, about, but I know Mark has to fly. Are you okay sticking around, Ben, for just a few more minutes? Maybe
Sure.
answer some Q&A and
Yeah,
go over a
yeah.
couple more kind of future products for funsies. Mark, dude, this was a blast. I'm sorry you couldn't be on the last one, but thanks for hanging 30 minutes overboard. I know it's getting late over there in the Central Time too.
Yeah, no, guys, I appreciate, KJ, I appreciate all kind words. Travis, Sam, appreciate the time. It's been awesome. Thanks, guys.
Mark,
It's been a
tour
lot
of
of
the
fun.
year. Tour of the year, dude.
Yeah.
Tour of the year. Thank
So
you
good.
so much. Thank you so much for this.
All right, gents. I'm gonna bounce, but yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out tonight, and yeah, we'll catch you guys later.
Good night,
Once
Mark.
we
See
get
you tomorrow.
once we get the 112 figs, we'll have to talk about that too, later
that'd be
on
perfect.
at a
Yeah.
later time. So, all right, man.
Cool.
Thank you so much. Cool. All right. Thanks for hanging with us, Ben. But there's a couple more. Look, some people and I want to give a shout out to the Skeletron Secret Lab because it's almost like been you've made nice manuals and everything, but this has almost been a guidebook for me also with the toy because you have some people that are there day one Kickstarter people who had Palatoy who still have it. You got people who are deep in an O-ring, deep in a 118. And I'm learning a lot as well. You know what I mean? I don't claim to be any whatever. I'm a modern collector. So it's nice to see, everything about Skeletron, Robo Skull, Action Force, Palatoy, Red
Yes.
Shadows. And I just learn every day hanging out. And I wanted to give shout outs to people throughout the show. And also just they had great suggestions too. Right here we got the Shadow Track. Everybody's talking about some of these different vehicles that we saw, Brian Hickey's future retellings, right? The repostings, republishings, I should
Yeah,
say,
the
of these
reprints.
awesome
Yeah.
books. So yeah, man, it'd be fun to see if Skeletron could ever take a modernized whack at some of these things. Just thoughts on some of these vehicles and future products.
Yeah, I think that we're going to continue to take inspiration from all of the things that that we love from the vintage, and then mix in some modern, do things that are completely new that maybe don't even have a grounded reference in something from the past. So I think as far as what you can expect from Skeletron in the future, I think it's going to be kind of a mix of all of that. We do want, our style, I think, is kind of this weird blend of modern, it is vintage. Like if you look at our box, like the art, it's very vintage and we've got a vintage vibe to it, but we also love, modernization of action figures. So and where does that come from? I think it just comes from what we like. I love, because we like all of that. And so there's a lot of opportunities, I think, just to continue to make really cool stuff that's both inspired from the past and then is totally new and different. So it'll be fun to see. Can't wait to show you guys what's next. But we definitely hear all the suggestions that people make, and we appreciate it because we do want to hear from the people that are buying our product and that enjoy it and what they'd hope to see next. So appreciate the feedback.
This vehicle in particular, because it can be a water raft, it can be on wheels, it can probably fly as well. There's a different variations that you could make it fly. There's different variations that I think, if Hasbro doesn't own it and they can't do it or they're not going to it, it's going to take forever. This could be something that's modernized, changed or whatever. And does Hasbro even have the rights to this, or do you, or do you know? I don't know.
So the whole story of Palatoy is an interesting one that's kind of outside of there's a whole pathway, right, where General Mills bought Palatoy and then it fell down here, and
Sure.
and then also with the comic strips, that's something I know more about because of the more officially about, I guess I can speak to because of what we worked with on Brian Hickey, where you've got all these comic strips that were eventually sold to Rebellion Publishing, a publisher in the UK, and so they own all those comic books. And then you've got characters, and a lot of them, there's all these Palatoy characters, and then it transitions into the characters we know in the United States, all of them, right? Cobra Commander and Destro and everybody.
Right.
And
yeah.
and
Baron Ironblood turns
yeah,
into
and there's a
Commander.
continuum there.
Yeah.
And so all those comics are owned by Rebellion, but then they don't have. They're like, we don't have the rights to the character. We own the artwork, we own the scripts, we own all that stuff. And
That's
so that was quite a process that Brian Hickey led the charge on to get everybody in a room and say, yeah, this is okay. This is we're going to get everybody to give a thumbs up so it can be a true official, reprinting of all those comic books from 40 years ago. So that's but there's a lot of, I think there's in some cases there's question marks where even Hasbro, you could ask, I think you could ask Hasbro, depending on which department or area,
right,
and you might get a slightly different answer on some of these things. So it's a great question. And sometimes the answer is a little bit complicated on who owns what, as for different parts of that old property.
All right. Before I let KJ bring us home with a couple other questions, gonna address that. I don't know how I did it, but I went through all the questions and that I thought were important here. And Patrick, this was way early, but he says, as we get closer to everything from Skeletron, what's the general direction? Other obscure international stuff like Eurosteel, Grid Striker.
Oh yeah, he's going way obscure on that one. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's kind of just like setting the general direct. I think you may have even answered this as we went on, but I just wanted to point this out.
I've answered it the best I can without. And again, I'm not actually trying to be that dodgy. The truth is we've got a bunch of different things that we're working on, and this happens actually at my regular job too, where I'm in product development, and I might have we've got all these different ideas going, and then one goes to a certain point, maybe it stalls out, or we get more excited about a different idea. So it remains to be seen in the exact sequencing of what might come next from us. But we've got things we're working on, we've got ideas, and there's more to come.
Yeah, and then I'm thinking if it's going to be a Kickstarter, right? It has to be something that's going to rival the Robo Skull. Like this, it seems unbeatable at this point. But I think you have the store, so you could do like smaller vehicles and stuff like that. So I think that's where some of this other stuff comes in that people have suggested in the group like this. Like this could never rival Robo Skull, right? The Cosmic Cruiser, but it could be something fun that. It's a good guy ship and you make it modern and badass, and it could be something smaller that's not going to be a $220 Kickstarter item. It could be, $80 or $60 or whatever. I mean, is that all a possibility? Is that kind of the stuff you're thinking about? Or
yeah, I mean, I think there's all kinds of ideas on the table, Travis. And I think it is a challenge because people want to know what's after the Robo Skull. And for me, I'll be real with you guys. Like, to me, the Robo Skull is it. Like this was I was like starting with like, this is the thing. And that's why I'm here, is because this is the thing I want. And it was never, when I started thinking about this, it's like, this is never going to happen. There's all these amazing companies. There's so much cool stuff, but I'm like, there's never going to be this Robo Skull. Like it's not going to happen. And that's when I decided like, hey, if I can get the right people involved, I'm going to jump in. So really this was the Robo Skull Mark II is my, it's my personal dream to chase. And so from where that goes now and how that evolves, it's a great question. And I don't have the exact answer, but more cool stuff to come. I also think
good.
There's so much cool stuff to draw inspiration from out there. I think that one of the things that's important to me is we want to make stuff that, is really special, because and that's why I want to do the Robo Skull, because to me, that was a really special piece that I want to take really far. And so I don't expect from us just to start kind of cranking out, like different things in red, to kind of go along with it. That's really not how, I envision product development.
How about this one? Because he asked a long time ago, and I had the picture. This is the very last image I have. Figure 6-pack. Thank you. Triad.
Yeah,
fighter.
I mean,
this would be the ultimate. To me, it's the ultimate good guy vehicle against a Robo Skull in a way.
Yeah, totally. And the Triad Fighter's awesome. Like that is like the big ones. I mean, the big ones that people love from the Palatoy era are the Triad Fighter, the Sea Lion, and the Shadow Track. I mean, those are the three that people really, really love. And we'll definitely, be drawing, inspiration from a lot of different places. But again, I'm not, I can't tell you what's next.
Cool.
Look, man, there's a reason In-N-Out, they only make burgers and fries. That's it. Like, they have one thing and they knock it out of the park. And
well, I'm not. Yeah, thank you, KJ. At the same time, I'm not suggesting that we're just going to do repaints of Robo Skulls. You know what I mean? And like one with pickles and one with onions, and you know what I mean. So like that's also not the plan because we want to keep anything we do. We want to keep things fresh. So
I won't say no to a chromed out Robo Skull, dude.
Nor would I.
Yeah, just wanted to show that one. Good. Yeah. Anything else, KJ? I think that I'm done on my end. I'm done with notes, slides, and questions. So it's all you, man. You can take us home with the last question before we say bye to Ben here.
I mean, what would you say is your absolute favorite Palatoy vehicle? I mean, outside of the Robo Skull, of course, but like it doesn't even have to be Action Man Z Force.
For me, yeah, it's definitely like Robo Skull to the max. And then for me, gosh, it's tough. I think the Sea Lion's super cool. I'm kind of in that same camp where I really love the Sea Lion. I love the Triad Fighter's funky. The Shadow Track's super cool. I got a Shadow Track right there.
Ooh, let's see.
There. And then I like some of the other, I like the repaints too. Like the in that black and green camo, like from that they did for the different Z-Force vehicles are super cool. So I'd probably have to go, even though I don't have one, I'd probably go Sea Lion. I guess if like you have to pick one, like I think the Sea Lion is really cool because it's different than, again, it's like something that's so different than anything that came out from G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero.
Very cool. And that was the one I just showed, guys, with the hovercraft one. So
yeah.
On
$300 from Etsy, man. These guys, this game is a hard game.
It's not. Have you looked at Palatoy Robo Skulls?
No. I had enough sticker shock for tonight, man. Once again, I'm just gonna say thank you. If I knew Russian Cyrillic, I would say thank you in Russian. So
we learned a lot tonight, right? Everybody, I hope that's watching. We got beneath the Robo Skull. I think we did the best we could to. You guys did. So I mean, digging deep into what we had, kind of giving us behind the scenes look at everything you guys did, kind of talking about influences from day one and breaking down this amazing thing that people are calling, vehicle of the year, figure of the year. So I think it's a tremendous ode, and I really appreciate you and Mark hanging out with KJ and I tonight, and letting KJ play with his toy.
It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for the invitation. Really enjoy talking. I just like talking toys, so this is fun. Thanks for having me on, and thanks everybody for joining. And thanks everybody who backed this and helped make it and truly made it a reality, because without those backers, wouldn't have been able to happen.
Yeah. And I just want to ask everybody's watching. There's a lot of new names, a lot of people probably from the Skeletron Secret Lab or the Skeletron social media. If you like the show and you dig military toys, that's what we talk about mostly, but we talk about everything toys. So if you want to like the show, subscribe. I'm thrilled with that. We got through everyone's question.
Like, subscribe.
So yeah, thanks for watching, and please give us a like. But Ben, dude, this was amazing. I can't wait to hang out again and have another pint till 3 a.m. And it's a blast, and shout out to Mark too.
All right, guys. Thanks again. Have a great night.
Thanks, Ben.
All right, this has been episode 198. We're on the road to 200. We got a Marvel Legends fan stream. Next week, we also have American Ninja X. That'll be a lot of fun with Marvel Legends talk. And then we're doing our best ofs. It's the end of the year wrap. So best classified of the year, best toys of the year, best Marvel Legends of the year. It's going to be a blast. We can't wait. It's going to be an awesome way to end the year. It's the holiday season, and the Robo Skull was definitely a perfect way to put a button on that. But for Mark, Ben, KJ, the Black Genghis, and Moody, we're out. Toy Kind of Mood. Catching the toy out. Peace.